Chapter 1601. The outside world, what's going on? Etienne was very suspicious about this. Wasn't it just divided into the inner divine realm and the outer divine realm? Yes, the patriarch had investigated it before and discovered that there really was an outside world. However, it has already been isolated. A special barrier has appeared, and there is no way to go out, and there is no way to enter. It should have been repaired automatically. The divine spirit race elder said in a deep voice. Perhaps the evil spirits came from the outside world. According to the records, there was no evil spirit race in the past, but suddenly a group of evil spirit race appeared and started a crazy massacre. This evil spirit is the patriarch of the evil spirit race. He was the one who led the evil spirit race in. After Etienne heard this, he was extremely shocked. This seemed to have overturned his understanding. He had originally thought that the evil spirit race existed here, but he never thought that they did not exist in this world, but belonged to an invading race. In this way, everything made sense. The reason why the evil spirit race devoured everything, regardless of race, was mainly because they were not people of this world. They came in to rule this world. There's such a thing. Etienne's expression was solemn. If that was the case, the evil spirit race would really be completely eradicated. Yes, so we absolutely cannot let the evil spirits descend again. If they descend again, I'm afraid that all life will be enslaved by them. In fact, the protective barrier will even be broken. The divine spirit race elder said in a deep voice, "This requires us to unite and deal with it together. Otherwise, it will be difficult to succeed, and the destruction it will bring will be unprecedented." However, it seemed to be very difficult for a group of forces to unite. Unless there was an unprecedented crisis, it was impossible for them to join hands. All of them live for their own interests, so why should they cooperate? This is indeed a problem. Etienne's expression was solemn. It had to be said that the Guardians were rather pitiful. If they could not get support and were attacked instead, it would be truly chilling. But I believe that we will unite. This was the case back then. The divine spirit race elder's eyes flickered as he recalled the situation back then. If they hadn't stood up, they would have really fallen. They were indeed very united back then. In times of crisis, they were still very united. Etienne nodded. He had seen those scenes during the trial of light. Most of the divine domains joined hands to resist the evil spirit race and finally successfully sealed the evil spirits. They might not have been able to completely annihilate them, but they had shown him the power of unity. They could defeat the experts of the other side. The divine spirit clan's elder turned his gaze to the evil spirit puppet and smiled faintly. Then tried to transfer the evil god's pearl over. If he could completely control it, it would mean that he had succeeded, and it would be a very great feat. After all, it's a puppet, unlike us who have to use our bodies to suppress it. If we can use puppets to suppress them, then we can really reduce a lot of unnecessary sacrifices. The elder of the divine spirit race did not reject this method. If there were no problems, he would approve of this method. He who had been tortured all this time knew what it felt like. If he could use puppets to suppress them, then it would undoubtedly be very easy. There won't be any problems. I can completely control this puppet and do whatever I want. It will also absorb energy to suppress the evil spirit's pearl. Etienne said in a deep voice. Okay, then let's try it now. After all, it's an evil spirit puppet. No matter what, it has the same origin as the evil spirits, so it's still a bit dangerous. He might have been able to relax with other puppets, but the evil spirit puppet was different. However, he still planned to try. If it didn't work, he could let Etienne suppress it. Then, the elder of the divine spirit race quickly formed hand seals, and the evil spirit's pearl in his chest started to be pulled out bit by bit. Blood kept flowing from where it was pulled out. The evil spirit's pearl seemed to have grown on it, so it was not easy to pull it out. The elder of the divine spirit race did not make a sound. It was as if he did not feel any pain as he pulled it out bit by bit. Finally, when it was completely pulled out, he fiercely slapped the evil spirit puppet's chest. Up! After the elder of the divine spirit race slapped it in, he quickly formed hand seals and formed various arrays on it. Soon, the evil spirit's pearl was firmly stuck on it. As soon as the evil spirit's pearl was stuck on it, black lines immediately appeared and covered the entire puppet. It was as if the evil spirit's pearl had taken root in it. After the elder of the divine spirit race was hit, his body swayed and fell to the side. However, Etienne reacted quickly and quickly supported him. At the same time, he started to heal the elder of the divine spirit race. The big hole in his chest started to heal bit by bit. "Child, thank you. I don't need this anymore." The elder of the divine spirit race revealed a gentle smile and patted his arm. He smiled and said, "I know that I'm already at the end of my rope. Even if I heal this injury, it's useless." His blood energy was completely depleted, and there was only a little bit left. Moreover, his soul was injured, which was simply one disaster after another. Even Etienne couldn't save him. No matter what kind of treatment he received, he couldn't recover. His blood energy could be replenished, but the damage to his soul was too serious. The fact that he was still alive was just hanging by a thread. "Thank you for your sacrifice." In the end, Etienne could only say that. "The future depends on you." The elder of the divine spirit race smiled, then closed his eyes and slept forever. Even if Etienne had a life that could be saved, he couldn't save the elder of the divine spirit race. This kind of life could only be saved from its current state, which meant that even if it was saved, its blood energy would still be depleted, and its soul would be missing. If it was saved directly, it would be impossible for everything to return to its young state. This item wasn't that invincible. After the elder of the divine spirit race left peacefully, Etienne turned his head to look at the evil spirit puppet. At this moment, the evil spirit's pearl in the evil spirit puppet's chest started to absorb its blood essence bit by bit. It wanted to suck it dry completely. As expected, as a guardian, its blood essence would naturally be sucked out bit by bit. This evil spirit's pearl was really evil. "Huh? It's the energy of my race?" The evil spirits was ecstatic. He didn't expect that it would be the body of his race. This way, the absorption rate would undoubtedly be higher. However, when he wanted to continue absorbing, he found that the blood essence had been cut off, and he couldn't absorb it at all. Only the energy that was suppressing him was still there. He could only absorb this energy that was suppressing him. "What's going on? I can't absorb the blood essence. This is impossible." The evil spirits were dumbfounded. Logically speaking, no cultivator could cut off the blood essence in their body. They had to circulate it throughout their body, and they couldn't cut it off. Chapter 1602. The evil spirits immediately panicked. He thought that he could recover faster by absorbing the essence of his own clan. He even thought that he had been saved by his own people. But when he could not absorb the essence blood, he was dumbfounded. If he could not absorb it, he could not recover quickly. It was basically the same as cutting off food, but he could feel that he was not in a formation. Instead, he was sealed through his body. The surging energy was used as a sealing force to seal him. Under normal circumstances, the essence blood could not be cut off. It was like a cultivator. How could he live without blood in his body? Even if he was beaten to death and only his head was left, there would still be essence blood in his head. It was just that the essence blood was gathered in his head. That was why he was not completely destroyed. Without the essence blood, he was like a piece of wood. He could not absorb it at all. "You can't absorb it, right?" Etienne's voice sounded beside him. The evil spirits could see what was happening outside through the evil spirit's pearl. He immediately saw Etienne's familiar face. "It's you." The evil spirits was furious. But no matter how angry he was, it was useless. Being sealed in this body, he could not do anything even if he wanted to. "That's right. It's me. Just stay in this puppet. I will make good use of you." Etienne smiled. He did not expect the effect of the evil spirit puppet to be so good. A normal cultivator could not cut off the essence blood supply. But the evil spirit puppet was not a normal cultivator. It was a puppet. A puppet did not have life. It only felt like it was alive, but in reality, it did not have any signs of life. Therefore, cutting off the essence blood supply was not a problem at all. He could control it however he wanted. It was a perfect sealing effect. He did not expect that the problem that had been troubling him would be solved just like that. As long as he used the evil spirit puppet, Even if he had to seal a few more evil spirit's pearls, it would not be a problem. If he could not seal one evil spirit puppet, he could just create a second one. It was not difficult at all. The key was that the evil spirits were sealed by his own clan's puppet. It was a great irony. Puppet, what's going on? The evil spirits shouted. This meant that it would be difficult for him to escape. He would be trapped for a long time, and he would not be able to possess the divine spirit race's elder. There's no need for you to know, idiot. Etianyan coldly chuckled and kept the sinister spirit puppet. He could not be bothered with him. He immediately incinerated the body of the divine spirit tribe's elder before scattering his ashes around the perimeter so that he could sleep in the ground forever. After completing this task, Etianyan raised his head and looked ahead. There was still a tunnel in front of him. It seemed that the other side was the true destination. Perhaps the mission would be complete once they reached it. After passing through the passageway, what greeted them was still a pitch-black scene. Rank 7 Dark Core. As expected, there was still an incomparably huge core of darkness in front of them. Endless power of darkness seeped into the ground, maintaining the three realms. The power of darkness was not the same as the power of evil. Only by using it correctly could one determine whether it was evil or not. Etianyan walked in front of the dark core and began to absorb it to strengthen the dark planet in his body. He wanted to improve his strength in all aspects. Therefore, he would not let go of such a high-grade core. After absorbing for a while, the dark planet in his body also became rank 7. He felt that he had improved again. The operation of the three realms is perfect. Etianyan took a deep breath, stood up, and continued to walk towards the end. When he stepped into the final passageway, he returned to the boundary. At the same time, the artifact spirit's voice rang in his ears. Congratulations! You have successfully passed the dark trial. You have become the true master of the three realms. The artifact spirit was a little excited. The three realms would be able to display its true strength if it had a master again. I have finally completed all the tests. Etianyan felt that it was extremely difficult. Ding! Successfully completed the special mission past the dark trial. Received the title Master of the Underworld. Ding! Successfully completed all the missions of the three realms. Become the Master of the three realms. Master of the three realms. Can control everything here. You are the true master of the three realms. There were no additional rewards. He could only obtain the right to control the three realms. But for him, it was enough. The main reward this time was the evil spirit's orb. Because it was owned by the evil spirit puppet, he could use the evil spirit puppet to try it the next time. He wondered what it would be like to mobilize the power of the evil spirits. Yes, you have completed all the tests. You can now enter the previous master's room. The artifact spirit bowed to him respectfully. At the same time, he waved his hand. A staircase appeared in the void and landed in front of Etianyan. In front of him was a staircase that led to a void passageway. There was no doubt that the void passageway in front of him was similar to a small world. Etianyan did not hesitate. He lifted his feet and walked up. Perhaps this would allow him to understand the details. The elder of the Divine Spirit clan did not say anything to him before he died. There were many things that he did not understand. Now that he could enter the previous master's room, he could naturally understand it. After walking up and stepping into the void passageway, his eyes lit up. He found himself in an ordinary small room. There were many bookshelves here, and there were many different martial arts manuals on them. Every martial art manual was of a high grade, and there were all kinds of divine seals in them. These were all a large amount of wealth. There were so many precious martial arts books and divine seals left behind by the patriarch of the Divine Spirit clan. It should be said that he was the patriarch of the Divine Spirit clan and the most glorious member of the Divine Spirit clan. Apart from this, there was not much else here. There was no divine sense left behind. It was simply filled with all kinds of books. There was also a pearl at the very front. It looked like there was energy flowing inside. Etianyan recognized at a glance that this was a memory pearl. It should be the memory left behind by the patriarch of the Divine Spirit clan. He walked over and picked up the memory pearl. He started to read the memories inside. Soon, A wave of memories flowed into his head, allowing him to know many things. So it's like this. There were no overly complicated memories, nor was there any divine will. It was just very fast, allowing him to understand everything at the moment. He now knew everything that he did not know before. The content was very simple. When the patriarch of the Divine Spirit clan was fighting against the evil spirits, he discovered the outside world and saw the crack in the barrier that had automatically repaired itself. Chapter 1603. The overall content was very simple, and it was obvious that he had left these memories in a hurry. They were mostly warnings. It was very likely that he had hurriedly prepared all of this before the battle and immediately accepted the battle. As for the formation, it had been set up a long time ago. From the start, he had planned to seal the evil spirits. The evil spirits were too strong, and they could not be killed. After the God Spirit Race's patriarch researched and found that he could not kill the evil spirits, he could only choose to seal them. This was because, with their current strength, they could not kill the evil spirits' souls. The evil spirits' souls were abnormally strong, unprecedentedly strong, and terrifyingly tenacious. As long as the souls were not destroyed, the evil spirits could not be killed. They could only choose to cut them into pieces and seal them. This was the most helpless method. They could only hope that an expert would appear in the future and kill the evil spirits. However, the most powerful God Spirit Race's patriarch had died just like that. In order to seal him, he had paid the price of his life. The overall introduction was relatively simple. The three realms existed to seal the head of the evil god, and at the same time, to resist the evil spirit race. Once all of its power exploded out, it would have an extremely strong power that could destroy everything. Back then, the God Spirit Race's patriarch had used the three realms' power and many experts to suppress the evil spirits. This was enough to show how terrifying the three realms were. The three cores were interlocked, and the combined power was very terrifying. After being sealed, the three realms were immediately controlled and flew to Fanyu to find an area to hide. Staying in the divine realm was quite dangerous. After all, there were many experts, and they would definitely be discovered. Fanyu was different. Sky gods and sky venerables would not go to Fanyu for no reason, so it was much safer. The evil spirit race was the same. Sky venerables and above definitely would not come over. As for Lord Taibai Jinxing and the Lord of Heaven, they were not worried. It was impossible for them to discover the secret here, so it was relatively safe. However, the problem it brought was also quite serious. It was very difficult for the next guardian to appear, causing the God Spirit Race's patriarch to be completely sucked dry and unable to recover. There was no way to have the best of both worlds, so he could only choose to sacrifice one side. As for the cultivators above, the patriarch of the Divine Spirit clan didn't make any special arrangements. He just randomly moved a group of cultivators over and placed them there to cultivate. There was no time for him to choose a genius or a genius to be placed here. However, with the existence of the three cores, the energy emitted from time to time could slightly strengthen them. All in all, everything was just a cover. There weren't any special arrangements. In the first place, the three realms were used to seal the evil spirits, not to train disciples. That's all I've told you. Tianyun felt that it wasn't detailed enough, but it had more or less explained who left behind the three realms. It turned out that this was the planet where the evil spirits were sealed. The cultivators on the planet were not specially selected. Everything was random. Even though it was random, the God Spirit Race's patriarch still hoped that some experts would successfully break through and discover the secrets of this place. After all, the God Spirit clan's patriarch had opened a small opening in the core area to let some energy leak out, forming a special environment. It was still much worse than the divine domain, but what it really changed was one's physique. Because Tianyun was surprised to find that this could change one's physique, making it easier for them to form multiple planets. This way, he could form multiple planets thanks to the nourishment of this place. Of course, with the system strengthening, it could increase the success rate of forming planets. This way, even without any ancient bloodline, he could still form multiple planets. Then, Tianyun walked around and looked at the records. Although there weren't many memories, there were many books that recorded things, such as the appearance of the evil spirit race and the situation of the evil spirit race. A lot of content was recorded here. Etionyan looked around and had a general idea. The evil spirits had come here to absorb a lot of ancient bloodlines, causing them to be on the verge of extinction. The evil spirits devoured crazily because they wanted to break through to the god Darch realm. He knew this before. As the main culprit, they were really ruthless. In addition, there were many martial arts, all of which were heavenly, venerable level martial arts. With these martial arts, it was enough to cultivate to the heavenly god realm. As for breaking through to the god Darch realm, there were also some insights here. But in the end, the god spirit clan's patriarch didn't succeed in breaking through to the god Darch realm before facing the fierce attack of the evil spirits. Etionyan flipped through the insights. There were many insights recorded in it. The god spirit clan's patriarch had tried many methods to break through. For example, forming multiple planets and strengthening one's physique to break through the final shackles. But the god spirit clan's patriarch found that he had been restricted to a limit and couldn't break through. It was as if he was trapped. He felt like he was stuck and couldn't break through, so he kept trying all kinds of abilities. The god spirit clan's patriarch is indeed a 10 refinement earth lord. Etionyan's eyes lit up. Many cultivators had successfully broken through to the 10 refinement earth lord realm, but they were all devoured. After reading for a while, he left this place. There was nothing else to see here. As for those martial arts, he will slowly cultivate them. When the 3 realms divine realm is a little more mature, I will teach these martial arts. Etionyan will not teach these martial arts for the time being. The grade is too high, they can't cultivate it with their cultivation. Back on the ground, he immediately went to find Feng Xiuzun, and, at the same time, he also pulled Shuyan. Yes, he even pulled Shuyan. Shuyan was the palace master of Jade Palace before, so she has a lot of ideas in this area. After a brief explanation, Shuyan immediately knew what was going on. You want me to form an alliance? Shuyan was a little shocked after knowing. She is now at the level of the Lord of Heaven, and she still needs to negotiate with those heavenly masters and heavenly gods. Isn't this a little too much pressure? It should be said, will those powerful cultivators be willing to communicate with a cultivator whose cultivation is so much lower than them? The gap in cultivation is too big, and the status is not equal. It is easy to have problems. Yes, you don't need to worry about anything. I am here. Etionyan smiled lightly and said, and don't always think too badly of yourself. Cultivation may be important, but sometimes it is not the point. Besides, with me behind you, no one dares to ignore you. Shuyun's heart warmed and immediately smiled slightly and said, well, since you think I can do it, then I will go with you. Chapter 1604. Etionyan called for Feng Xiuzun and brought Shuyun directly to the Xiao Tian God domain to meet with the Great Devis. You found Feng Xiuzun so quickly? The Great Devis was slightly surprised. Feng Xiuzun had always been elusive. She could be helping cultivators somewhere, or she could be cultivating in seclusion somewhere. Basically, she did not have a fixed location. Under such circumstances, it was rather difficult to find her. Who knew that Etionyan would find her so quickly, and it did not take long. Actually, Feng Xiuzun has always been in the god domain of the 3 realms. Or rather, she has long joined my force. Etionyan smiled and did not hide this matter. He was too lazy to say anything else. There was no need to hide anything from his master. He would find out in the future anyway. The Great Devis's heart shook. He did not expect that Feng Xiuzun, who was so difficult to deal with, would be taken care of just like that. The Great Devis looked at Feng Xiuzun. She smiled and nodded, acknowledging that she had already joined the god domain of the 3 realms. So secretive, suddenly giving me such a huge piece of news. No wonder you were so confident that you were going to find Feng Xiuzun. The Great Devis smiled, then looked at Shuyun beside Etionyan and asked curiously, your Dao companion is going too? Yes, Shuyan is going with me. Etionyan smiled faintly. This time, it is not only the Xiao Tian God Domain Alliance. our god domain of the three realms, also wants to form an alliance with Yuelong god domain. So it is like that, but it is slightly difficult. The great Devis was more straightforward. His thoughts were the same as Feng Xiuzun. In a situation where their positions were not equal, forming an alliance was too difficult. Although Yi Tianyan was very capable, he was just one person, unless his cultivation was really heaven-defying, reaching middle-level heavenly god or upper-level heavenly god. Only then would he be qualified. That's not a problem. You'll know when the time comes. Yi Tianyan smiled and did not reveal his secret. Under the guidance of the great Devis, they quickly made their way to Yuelong's god domain. Yuelong's divine domain is in front of us. The great Devis controlled the spirit ship, preparing to warn them once they arrived. At this moment, Shuyan was a little nervous. Even as the manager of the god realm of the three realms, she would still feel nervous in the face of such a colossus. After all, Yuelong's god domain was simply too powerful, especially after Yi Tianyun's explanation. He knew what kind of existence she was about to negotiate an alliance with. In the god realm of the three realms, excluding those who joined later, the highest cultivation level was only at the level of the Lord of Heaven. Even those who joined later were only divine monarchs, the highest being heavenly venerables. Yuelong, on the other hand, had many heavenly deities in his god domain. One could well imagine the pressure. The difference in their levels made her feel uncertain. As she was feeling nervous, she felt a warmth in her hand, causing her to look up and see Tianyun smile. "Don't be nervous. I'm here." Yi Tianyun held her hand tightly, indicating that she shouldn't be nervous. Shuyan nodded. Although the nervousness in her heart had decreased a little, she was still a little nervous. Soon, they arrived at the region of Yuelong's god domain. As far as the eye could see, they could see a bright moon hanging high in the void. In truth, this wasn't a bright moon, but rows of planets that formed a crescent moon that emitted a faint light. Thus, from a distance, it looked like a crescent moon hanging in the void. How beautiful! Yi Tianyan was shocked by this scene. The other influences were scattered, but here, they were stacked on top of each other, forming a crescent moon. This crescent moon wasn't casually arranged. It was clearly a great array formation that could use the power of many planets to erupt together, forming a fatal attack. Shuyan was also shocked. She didn't think that there would be such a way of arranging things. It is indeed beautiful. I don't know how many times I've seen it, but I'm still mesmerized by it. The great Devis shook his head and sighed. As Supremacy Feng Xiu saw this, her eyes turned red. This was the place she had stayed in before. However, when they found out that her parents might be demons, it was impossible for her influence to be implicated, so she could only choose to leave. Now that she had returned and recalled the past, she couldn't help but feel moved. As they were about to approach, four female guards immediately appeared in front of them. Their cultivations were all at the Empyrean level. "Who are you?" they shouted, indicating for them to stop. The great Devis led them out of the spirit ship. When they saw who it was, they cried out in surprise, "Elder Feng Xiu, long time no see, but I am no longer your elder, so don't call me that." Supremacy Feng Xiu sighed. "You will always be our elder. Even if you leave here, you will still be our elder. After all, outside, you have always taken good care of all our disciples. No matter what happens, you will always come to our rescue." Their eyes were red as they said, "Elder Feng Xiu, you should come back. The great elder and the region lord are all worried about you." Supremacy Feng Xiu's cultivation might not be particularly amazing, but she was indeed a super genius. Thus, she had become an elder-level existence. However, to become an elder wasn't because she was too talented, but because of her kind heart and willingness to help others. This caused her prestige to rise. Yi Tianyan looked at Supremacy Feng Xiu. He knew that they would encounter such a thing. What would happen if Supremacy Feng Xiu went back? It had to be known that she had joined the divine realm of the three realms. If she left, that wouldn't be a good thing. There is no need to say that. Once I have decided on something, I will not go back on my word. This time, I came back because I have something to discuss with the region lord. I wonder if I can bring them in? Supremacy Feng Xiu pointed at Tianyun and the others. Of course you can. Elder Feng Xiu, bring them in. Bring them in at will. They warmly moved aside and gestured for them to come in. The great Devis shook his head. Truly, people were treated differently. When others came in, their treatment was terrible, and they refused to leave. Now that Supremacy Feng Xiu had brought them in, it was even easier. I already said not to call me elder. Supremacy Feng Xiu was extremely helpless. She was no longer an elder. If they still called her elder, she would feel ashamed. Understood, Elder Feng Xiu. They smiled and said. They looked at each other. When Supremacy Feng Xiu returned, she would definitely not let her leave. She would stay and not let her leave. Little did they know that Supremacy Feng Xiu had already joined the divine realm of the three realms. She just did not announce it. Supremacy Feng Xiu sighed. She was too lazy to correct them. Call her whatever she wanted. Chapter 1605. After entering, Tianyun was even more shocked by the scene inside. Silver lights sprinkle from the top. It really looks like the moon is sprinkling down from the sky. In truth, it came from these planets. Their cores were all light cores. That was why they had such a special effect. When this light shone down, it was like sunlight, giving them a warm feeling. But it was not as glaring as sunlight. It was as gentle as moonlight. Tianyun knew that there was a hidden danger inside. If the formation was activated, the area he was in would become the attack range. So many light cores, it's really a big deal. Just from this, it was clear why Yuelong's god domain was so strong. Under Feng Xiuzun's lead, they flew directly to the Elder Hall. Coincidentally, it was the planet in the middle of the crescent moon planet. This was equivalent to the eye of Yuelong's god domain. Naturally, it would be the Elder Hall. The Elder Hall that was originally heavily guarded was immediately opened for them. It was mainly because Feng Xiuzun led the way that everything went so smoothly. Elder Feng Xiu, you're back. Elder Feng Xiu, you've become more beautiful. Elder Feng Xiu. Along the way, the surrounding cultivators all greeted her respectfully, causing Feng Xiuzun to be touched and embarrassed. She was very touched, but also very embarrassed. She had already left this place, and they still called her that. She was really ashamed. Tianyun, who was following behind, shook his head, but he knew that Feng Xiuzun would not leave her god domain. There was only one special possibility, and that was to restore Yuelong's position in the god domain, but she would still be a person of the three realms god domain. This was still acceptable to Tianyun. As long as she was a person of the three realms god domain, it was enough. Along the way, all that Tianyun saw were female cultivators. He really did not see a single male cultivator. This was really like what the outside world said. There was really not a single male cultivator here. He swept his gaze across. Their talent was not bad. There were also those with average talent, but they all enjoyed equal treatment here. If he wanted to obtain more benefits, he would have to rely on his own hard work. When she arrived at the Elders' Hall, a few elders immediately came out to welcome her and said with a smile, Elder Feng Xiu, you're back? These elders were all heavenly gods. They were still polite to Feng Xiuzun and did not act high and mighty just because their cultivation base was lower than theirs. Venerable Feng Xiu's reputation was not just for show, and she was indeed a genius. To be able to cultivate to this level in 1,000 years, after a period of time, it would not be a problem for her to surpass them. Yes, I have something to tell Domain Lord. Venerable Feng Xiu was already numb. Whatever they called him, they could call him that. The Domain Lord is currently dealing with some matters. If there's anything, you can look for the Great Elder. The Great Elder is inside. You could go over now. When they looked at Tianyun, they immediately knew what was going on. It was definitely this group of people who had come to find the Domain Master. But since it was brought by Feng Xiuzun, they did not say anything and were instead thinking about how to pull Feng Xiuzun back. Ever since Feng Xiuzun left, she had not returned. Now that she had come back, and it was for someone else, it was enough to prove that the group of people she had brought were very important to Feng Xiuzun. Otherwise, why would she be willing to come back? This caused them to guess the reason behind it. What exactly was going on? Following them, they went straight to find the Great Elder. The great elder of Yuelong Divine Realm was inside handling affairs. When they entered, she raised her head and looked over. Elder Fengqiu. Her beautiful eyes lit up, revealing a look of pleasant surprise. The great elder in front of her was extremely beautiful. She seemed to be addressed as Great Elder and looked no different from a young woman in her 20s. But her cultivation base was extremely domineering, reaching the level of an intermediate heavenly god. Great Elder. When Fengqiu Zun saw the Great Elder, she looked very awkward. It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back. Don't leave this time. Come back to Yuelong Divine Realm. Everyone misses you and is looking forward to your return. Heavenly Goddess Ling Bing took her small hand and said gently. Tianyun looked on from the side and felt that Fengqiu Zun was returning home, not to some force. Let's not talk about this for now. Fengqiu Zun shook her head, not wanting to talk about this for now. She then turned to look at Tianyun and the others and said, I came back this time to bring them here to discuss some things with you. Oh, what do you want? When Heavenly Goddess Ling Bing turned to look at them, her expression immediately became cold, and her smile was nowhere to be seen. Heavenly Goddess Ling Bing, I am an elder of the Heavenly Cultivation Divine Realm, and I came here to form an alliance with you. The great Devis stood up and said, Sorry, we don't plan to form an alliance with any divine realm. If that's all, you can leave now. Heavenly Goddess Ling Bing was very unreasonable, and she immediately refused without even thinking. This made the great Devis feel extremely awkward. They had just arrived, and they were already leaving? Fengqiu Zun felt very helpless at the side. This was not something she could control, so she could only watch from the side. Don't tell me you don't want to think about it. You should know the news, right? Our Heavenly Cultivation Divine Realm has just been attacked by the evil spirit race, and they want to snatch the evil spirit's pearl. We are the guardians, and I heard that your Yuelong Divine Realm is also a guardian. The great Devis said in a deep voice, In this way, if we form an alliance, it will undoubtedly be easier to protect this evil spirit's pearl. The fact that the Heaven Cultivation God Realm had been attacked was already known to everyone. How could no one know about such a big thing? Many cultivators squatted at the side and watched, spreading the news about this place. As for why they were fighting, they were not very clear. However, the great Devis confessed, mainly because this was no longer a secret, so he might as well say it out. Only then would he be more sincere. We are not guardians, so you can't speak carelessly. Heavenly Goddess Ling Bing said coldly. I believe the great Devis knows what the consequences will be. If it was announced, they would definitely be targeted by the evil spirit race immediately. Heavenly Goddess Ling Bing did not want Yuelong Divine Realm to be targeted. Regardless of whether you are or not, we control the evil spirit's pearl. If it is taken away by the evil spirit race, it is very likely that the evil spirits will revive. When the time comes, do you think you can escape responsibility? The great Devis said sternly, This way, we have to form an alliance even more. If you choose to join the evil spirit race, then pretend that I didn't say anything. Chapter 1606. It was normal for the great Devis to be infuriated. Even if he really didn't want to, he should have at least said it in a roundabout way. Such blunt words made him very displeased. As guardians, they had worked hard to protect the evil spirit's pearl in order to prevent other forces from being implicated, but they were treated with disdain. If the evil spirit's pearl was handed over to the evil spirit tribe, then after the evil spirit tribe resurrected the evil spirits, the entire Yuelong God realm would be destroyed. This was like a hero coming to a small village to help fend off demonic beasts. One day, he was very hungry and wanted to ask for some food, but the villagers rejected him harshly, saying that if he wanted food, he had to find it himself. If he retorted, he should at least provide some food in order to protect the village, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to protect it. However, the villagers retorted, saying that he was doing it voluntarily and that it had nothing to do with them. There were quite a lot of cruel truths like this. Now that this was how the great Devis treated them, how could they not be infuriated? No matter what, they had contributed to protecting the God realm, yet they were rejected so quickly. It was difficult for them to feel good even if they wanted to. That's your business. It has nothing to do with us. Heavenly Goddess Ling Bing retorted coldly. She wasn't going to fall for this. She felt like if the evil spirits had the ability to attack them, they would just have to defend them. You! The great Devis was instantly enraged. No matter how much the Yuelong God realm discriminated against male cultivators, they shouldn't be so unreasonable. Grand Elder, you are too impulsive. At this moment, an ethereal voice sounded from behind them. Following that, an exquisitely beautiful woman walked in leisurely from outside. Every step she took seemed to blend into this world, as if she had become one with it. More importantly, a faint light emanated from her body, making her look like a goddess of light. She was the Region Lord of Yuelong Celestial Realm, also known as the Region Lord of Yuelong Celestial Realm. Her cultivation had reached the late-stage Middle Celestial God Realm, and she was considered a relatively powerful existence. Even though she was a female cultivator, she was still ahead of many male cultivators. Ruler, Heavenly Goddess Ling Bing, and the others said respectfully, "Greetings, Region Lord Yuelong." The great Devis and Etienne greeted respectfully. Region Lord Yuelong nodded and came in front of the great Devis and said, "The great elder is a bit prejudiced against your cultivation god realm, but it's not because you are the protectors." Region Lord Yuelong also stated in a very straightforward manner why Empyrean God Towering Eyes had done this. "Are you prejudiced against our cultivation god realm?" The great Devis was stunned. He looked Heavenly Goddess Ling Bing up and down, completely at a loss for words. Could it be that the Heavenly Cultivation God realm had offended her? The great Devis has left the Heavenly Cultivation realm for a long time, right? It's normal that you don't know. Region Leader Yuelong looked at Empyrean Goddess Towering Eyes and smiled calmly. Grand Elder, the great Devis doesn't know anything about this. There's no need for you to target him, is there? We're both from the Heavenly Cultivation God realm. There's no difference. Empyrean Goddess Towering Eyes was still very blunt. This made the great Devis feel a bit awkward. There were many things that he didn't know. If the Heavenly Cultivation God realm did something bad to her, then it really wasn't because Empyrean Goddess Towering Eyes was too harsh with her words. I wonder what the Heavenly Cultivation God realm did to Empyrean Goddess Towering Eyes. I'm deeply sorry. I hope Empyrean Goddess Towering Eyes won't take it to heart. The great Devis could only choose to bow his head. Since this was a matter of the Heavenly Cultivation God realm, he could only apologize. Although he didn't know what the situation was, and it wasn't his doing, he was now the representative, so he was the one to apologize. Seeing the great Devis apologize, Empyrean Goddess Towering Ice's face relaxed a little. Her tone was also not as cold as before. Forget it. It's normal that the great Devis doesn't know. After all, you've left the Heavenly Cultivation God realm for a long time. Actually, it's nothing much. I was originally a deacon in the Heavenly Cultivation God realm, but I was forced into a marriage alliance in the end. As you can see, I've already joined the Yuelong God realm. The great Devis wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. He didn't expect such an astonishing prodigy to be forced to leave because of something like this. He had to admit that the elders of the Heavenly Cultivation God realm must have been kicked in the head by a donkey. No wonder Empyrean Goddess Towering Eyes was so against forming an alliance. Just based on this matter alone, how could they form an alliance? It was already good enough that they didn't beat him up, but they still wanted to form an alliance? I really didn't know about this. I'm very sorry. The great Devis smiled awkwardly. This is our fault, and it's also the fault of those elders. Now that the environment has improved greatly, this kind of situation won't happen again. If he was here, this kind of thing definitely wouldn't happen. Using a woman to form an marriage alliance. However, this was indeed a common method. However, this could easily lead to people thinking that he was a commodity to be traded, and his favorable impression of him would immediately disappear. Humph. Empyrean Goddess Towering Eyes snorted and didn't say anything else. At least her tone wasn't so cold, and the feeling of rejection was also much weaker. All right, you're here to form an alliance, right? Region Lord Yuelong smiled. Yes, We're here to form an alliance. We are the protectors of the evil spirit's pearl. I don't know if you are protectors, but if you are, then we should unite and resist the evil spirit's race together. The great Devis said in a deep voice, now that they're starting to counterattack, if our evil spirit's pearl is taken away, I'm afraid the entire god realm won't be able to live in peace. That's true. We've always heard about it, but we really don't know if you're protectors or not. Regent Lord Yuelong smiled. Now that we know, we should stand up and help. After all, we're protectors, and helping each other is something we should do. Regent Lord Yuelong said it straightforwardly. There was no need to hide this. Since the great Devis had already made it clear, there was no need to hide it. Usually, when they didn't know about the other party's situation, they would hide it a little. However, it was different now. After confirming the situation, there was no need to hide it. That's great. The great Devis was very excited. He didn't expect things to go so smoothly. He thought that the other party would make things difficult for them. Unexpectedly, Regent Lord Yuelong was very straightforward. However, the fact that we're protectors needs to be kept a secret. The alliance also needs to be kept a secret. When we're attacked, we'll play a key role. There weren't many people present, only 1 or 2 elders. They were all trusted aides, and were quite trustworthy. Of course, that's what we're thinking. Similarly, if Yuelong's god realm is attacked by the evil spirit race, we'll also immediately send reinforcements. The great Devis didn't ask for much. They just wanted to send reinforcements. Originally, an alliance wouldn't involve too many things. Both sides had their own ways of managing things, so it was impossible to arrange for people to come over. All right, it's settled then. Regent Lord Yuelong nodded. While they were happily making their decision, Tianyun interrupted. Regent Lord Yuelong, our god realm also wants to form an alliance with Yuelong's god realm. Chapter 1607. Regent Lord Yuelong and the rest were surprised. Even the great Devis was surprised. He never thought that Tianyun would make such a request. Sovereign Fengqiu already knew, so she wasn't surprised. The 3-realm celestial realm wants to ally with us? Regent Lord Yuelong was puzzled. If I remember correctly, it should be a new special celestial realm. Its overall strength seems to be rather average. If their overall strength was too low, then it would be far from an alliance. They would be protected. If Yuelong's celestial realm was attacked, how could the 3-realm celestial realm help? They definitely wouldn't be able to help at all. On the contrary, if something happened to the 3-realm celestial realm, they would have to rush over to help. It was obviously not worth it at all. Yes, our overall strength is indeed average, but we are also protectors. Tianyun smiled lightly. What? They were all shocked. This news was even more shocking. How did they suddenly become protectors? Tianyun, you're also a protector? The great Devis was incomparably shocked. When did his disciple become a protector? Why didn't he feel it? Yes, I just became a protector recently. I never thought I would become one. Tianyun said honestly. Then, through the evil spirit puppet, he released a bit of the evil spirit's pearl's aura. The thick, evil energy seemed to come from his body, causing their expressions to change. But soon, Tianyun retracted the energy back into his body. I wonder, do I have the qualifications to ally with you? Tianyun smiled slightly. Their expressions were solemn. They all knew what it meant to become a protector. This was especially true for the vast Empyrean god. His heart ached. His disciple becoming a protector meant that he would have to endure the pain and torture. He would also be continuously bleeding. It would affect his breakthrough. It could be said that it wasn't worth it. It was a huge loss. Looking closely at them, Heavenly God Yulong only passed it to Regent Lord Xiutian when he couldn't hold on anymore. Otherwise, it would restrict Regent Lord Xiutian's breakthrough. Although he could still cultivate, without the evil spirit's orb, the cultivation speed would undoubtedly be faster. The evil spirit's pearl did not have any effects that could assist in cultivation. It could only be used to unleash a powerful force that could kill all enemies. To put it bluntly, it was just a weapon. Naturally, it wouldn't have any auxiliary functions. The main point was that this weapon would also damage itself. But now that the evil spirit's orb was already in his body, it was undoubtedly fatal unless he immediately moved it out. However, transferring it would also injure his body once more. The heretic god's pearl was not something that could be easily moved. It required a lot of power to move it. Or rather, if he were to transfer it now, it would consume more of his body's energy. He had to slow down a little. Tianyun, transfer this evil spirit's orb to me. This is too harmful to you. The great Devis immediately transmitted his voice to Tianyun, telling him to transfer it to him immediately. It wasn't that he was greedy for this thing, but he didn't want Tianyun's potential to be suppressed. How could it not affect his cultivation if his blood essence was constantly being extracted? Master, it's fine. I can suppress this, and I can suppress it perfectly. Tianyun smiled. He also planned to let him absorb the other evil spirit's orbs so that others wouldn't have to suffer this kind of pain. In the past, he didn't have a choice. Now he had an additional choice. Suppress it perfectly? The great Devis was a little confused. He didn't know how this perfect suppression was possible. Just as they were about to continue transmitting their voices, Regent Lord Yuelong beside them said in a deep voice, "This is all the more reason why you can't form an alliance. You should say that you should merge your forces or replace the protectors. Your cultivation base is too low, and your forces are too weak. There's no way you can protect this evil spirit's orb." Her way of thinking was different from the great Devis. She didn't think that Tianyun had the power to protect the evil spirit's orb. The power of a middle-level heavenly venerable was still a far cry from it. No matter what, one had to have the cultivation base of a heavenly god to be qualified to possess the evil spirit's orb. There's no need for Regent Lord Yuelong to worry about this. I believe that I can still protect the evil spirit's orb. Tianyun said in a deep voice, "What we need to discuss now is the matter of the alliance. I admit that the current situation is still relatively weak, but I believe that we will catch up soon. On this point, Regent Lord Yuelong can ask Venerable Fengxiu." Ask Elder Fengxiu? Regent Lord Yuelong turned to look at Venerable Fengxiu. Venerable Fengxiu thought for a while before saying, "The overall situation of the three realms God realm is on the weaker side. They are weaker than most of the God realms, but their breakthroughs are extremely fast. From the looks of it, they will be able to catch up in a short period of time. In less than 1,000 years, they will be able to catch up to most of the fourth-grade God realms." She had stayed in the three realms God realm for a period of time. She was deeply impressed by the situation inside. Such rapid breakthroughs was truly unprecedented. Not only that, Heavenly Venerable Tianyun's Tao companion, who is also Snow Cloud Lord of Heaven, has a similar management philosophy as us. They both focus on the development of female cultivators. Venerable Fengxiu's gaze turned to Shushuyun. Similar to our philosophy? Regent Lord Yuelong's beautiful eyes flickered. She was somewhat interested in this. Shushuyun quivered. She seemed to know why Tianyun called her over. It was probably because of this that he called her over. "Regent Lord Yuelong, I am the Regent Empress of the Three Realms God Realm. I am mainly involved in the management of the Three Realms God Realm. Our advantage is..." Shushuyun began to display the various advantages and potential of the Three Realms God Realm, as well as the factions that were continuously joining. Everything was displayed to prove that the Three Realms God Realm had endless potential. At the same time, it could protect the evil spirit's pearl. She did not know what the evil spirit's pearl was, but it was definitely something dangerous. Tianyun did not tell her about the evil spirit's pearl. After all, it was better not to say these things for the time being. He did not want to give her too much pressure. As Shushuyun spoke more and more, she began to release her unique confidence. In her view, there might be a gap between them and the other God realms, but it was definitely not too far. There would also be a day when they would catch up. After explaining the general situation, Shushuyun smiled and said, "This is our management philosophy. Even if we are not as good as the other God realms, we believe that one day we will surpass the other God realms and become an extremely powerful fourth-grade God realm. In our view, talent is not the main point. Unity is the main point." Regent Lord Yuelong squinted at her. How many years had it been since a Lord of Heaven came to talk about philosophy with her? Usually, other Lords of Heaven would feel their legs go weak when they saw her. How could they talk about philosophy with her? Tianyun, who was at the side, had a smile on his face. This was the reason why he brought Shuyin here. Chapter 16:08. Shuyin spoke a lot. The more she spoke, the more arrogant and confident she became. Her previous nervousness was swept away. The god realm of the three realms gave her a lot of confidence. Even if she knew about the situation of the other god realms, she still felt that the three realms god realm would surpass the other god realms one day. Not only did the three realms god realm have potential, but they also had a region lord, Tianyun. With Tianyun, they could replace most of the god realms. Every time, Tianyun brought back a lot of resources. With all kinds of resources, they would definitely break through quickly. Without Tianyun, it would be hard to surpass the other god realms. They could only develop quickly and catch up with them. As for surpassing them, it would be difficult, but she believed that the three realms god realm would not have any problems. Well said. Your philosophy is more or less the same as ours. Region Lord Yuelong smiled. Based on your current situation, you do have the qualifications to form an alliance with us. Or rather, you are using your future power to form an alliance with us. With the current situation, the gap is still too big. This was what Tianyun thought. Based on the current situation, the gap was huge. They were not on the same level at all. But he was using the future of the three realms god realm as a bet. After all, the battle between god emperors had not happened. The evil spirit's pearl was not lost. The three realms god realm still had a special barrier. There was no need to worry about safety. With these conditions, he had the confidence to form an alliance with Yuelong god realm. In the end, it was just a temporary alliance. They did not need Yuelong god realm's help. With the protection of the barrier, they did not need Yuelong god realm's help. After 1,000 years, they would definitely develop. At that time, they would have enough power to support them. To them, 1,000 years was a very short time. Without tens of thousands of years, there was no time to talk about. It had to be said that bringing Shuyin over was the right choice. She was originally very against it. Now, Region Lord Yuelong had somewhat accepted it. That's for sure. I wonder if Domain Lord Yuelong is willing to form an alliance with our deity realm of the three realms? Tianyun smiled faintly. Region Lord Yuelong narrowed his eyes at him, not in a hurry to answer. Instead, he turned to look at Venerable Fengxiu. If I am not wrong, Elder Fengxiu has already joined the divine realm of the three realms? What? Heavenly Goddess Towering Eyes was astonished. This was quite a shocking piece of news to her. This news was somewhat shocking. Everyone looked at Fengxiu Zun, wanting to hear the truth from her. Fengxiu Zun nodded. Now that she had been seen through, she could only nod and agree. She really did join? What kind of curse did you cast on Elder Fengxiu? Heavenly Goddess Ling Bing glowered at Tianyun with an enraged expression. They had spent a long time, but were unable to pull Fengxiu Zun back. And now they had joined the three realms divine domain. A god's domain that used its future as a wager? What a joke. This kind of flattery was truly impressive. It was a rather peculiar curse that pulled her over. Tianyun said with a smile. Region Lord Yuelong, you still managed to see through this. After Elder Fengxiu left, she basically wouldn't go to any faction, much less stay there for a long time. Now that she has stayed in your faction for a period of time, and has even seen the details of the situation, she can already see many things. Region Lord Yuelong's observation skills were very sharp, and he immediately noticed. Fengxiu Zun, who had left the divine realm, was indeed unwilling to go to other factions, not even as a guest. Fengxiu Zun had rejected many people on this point, and not just one faction. On the other hand, there was only one possibility for someone to be willing to stay in a faction, and that was to join it. Region Lord Yuelong's eyes are indeed like torches. You immediately saw through it. Tianyun smiled, not feeling surprised. To be able to rope an Elder Fengxiu, you must have some ability. Region Lord Yuelong smiled. Since that's the case, then if you want to form an alliance with me, as long as you agree to one condition, I will immediately agree to form an alliance with you. What condition? Etianyan narrowed his eyes and said, "Bring Elder Feng Xiu back, and I will agree to form an alliance with you." Regent Lord Yuelong said with a smile. This, Shi Shuiyun and the others were stunned. This condition was really targeted, to actually use Feng Xiu Zun as a condition. Do you agree? As long as you agree, I will agree to form an alliance with you. Regent Lord Yuelong smiled. Not only that, I will also give you a large amount of resources that you will definitely not be able to imagine. It will make it easier for you to break through. Such a huge temptation, it was really hard to resist. Just by giving up one person, they would have another backer, and also a lot of resources. It was really worth it. At this time, everyone looked at Etianyan. They did not know how Etianyan would answer. Would he agree or reject? Regent Lord Yuelong thinks too highly of me. First of all, Feng Xiu Zun is not a condition, nor is she an item. From the start, I have already told Feng Xiu Zun that I will not restrict her freedom. If she is willing to come back, then come back. Etianyan shrugged his shoulders and said, "Therefore, I cannot agree to this condition, nor can I agree to it. If you really only need Feng Xiu Zun as a condition to form an alliance, then I am very sorry this alliance will not be possible." Etianyan was not angry, nor was he sad. He still maintained a faint smile on his face, looking extremely calm. This reply caused Feng Xiu Zun to be stunned. Etianyan had indeed replied like this before, to give her freedom, to do whatever she wanted. But when it came to the state of forming an alliance, he still directly rejected it without hesitation. This made her extremely moved, especially the previous sentence. It made her extremely moved. She was indeed not an item, and definitely not a condition. Regent Lord Yuelong stared at him for a long while, then laughed. Seems like Elder Feng Xiu did not follow the wrong person. Just based on what you have said, I will form an alliance with your divine domain of the three realms. But I still hope that Elder Feng Xiu can come back often, or hold a position on both sides. Regent Lord Yuelong greatly admired Etianyan. It should be said that this reply made her extremely satisfied, and made her immediately agree to the alliance. If she casually gave up Feng Xiu Zun, then without a doubt, she would not form an alliance. The reason was very simple. If she casually gave up Feng Xiu Zun, then when Yuelong's divine domain was given up, it would also be extremely easy for her to betray them. Chapter 1609. This is up to Feng Xiu Zun. If there is no problem, then I naturally have no problem with it. Etianyan would not make things difficult for Feng Xiu Zun. There would be no problem with both of them. Anyway, Feng Xiu Zun was on his side, so there was no problem. Feng Xiu Zun was startled, and immediately said to Etianyan gratefully, "Thank you, Heavenly Cloud Domain Lord. This is your home. If I refuse, I am afraid that you will have more worries in your heart, which is not good for your cultivation." When Etianyan came to Yuelong Domain, he saw many things. She had always wanted to return to Yuelong Domain, but there were many things that happened before, so she did not dare to return. Now it was different. All the truth had been found out, but she had already joined the Three Realms Domain, so she should not be able to return. Etianyan was very open-minded, allowing her to come and go as she pleased without any restrictions. For Etianyan, as long as she was willing to stay here, it was enough. He believed that Feng Xiu Zun would often stay in the Three Realms Domain. The matter of the alliance is over. Now it is time to talk about the evil spirit's orb. Yuelong Domain Lord's smile disappeared, and he looked at Yin seriously. Although we agreed to the alliance, but the matter of the evil spirit's orb still cannot be put down. In my opinion, you will not be able to protect the evil spirit's orb. This was a very serious topic. He did not continue to talk about it before. Mainly because of the matter of the alliance, he avoided it, but now he came back again. It is because my cultivation is low that I cannot protect the evil spirit's orb? Etianyan laughed on the surface. It seemed like it was true. Yes, I will say these words very bluntly. Either you give it to us to protect, or you give it to the heavenly cultivation domain to protect. We have no objections. This is also for your own good. If you bring it with you, it will undoubtedly bring disaster to yourself, and at the same time, it will bring disaster to your own forces. Of course, Even if you hand over the evil spirit's orb, we can still form an alliance. This will not change. Domain Lord Yuelong gave two choices. He didn't force Tianyin to hand over the evil spirit's orb to Yuelong God Domain. He could hand it over to Xiao Tian God Domain, whom he could trust. What if I think I can protect the evil spirit's orb? Tianyin narrowed his eyes and said, Then, can I protect the evil spirit's orb? In order to protect the evil spirit's orb, one must be at least at the level of a heavenly god or above. Anyone below this level will not be able to protect it well. Do you think you have the strength to do so now? Regent Lord Yuelong didn't know about Tianyun's real situation. She could only see that Tianyun's cultivation was only at the middle level of the heavenly venerable realm. I have the strength to do so. Tianyun glanced at the great Devis. The great Devis naturally knew about Tianyun's strength. Ordinary heavenly gods would be killed instantly. He believed that Tianyun had the strength to protect the evil spirit's orb. It was just that it wasn't worth it for him to keep having his blood and chi sucked away. This isn't something that you can just say. Unless you can prove yourself, you must hand over the evil spirit's orb to someone else for safekeeping. This is a matter of great importance. We can't afford to be careless. It wasn't that Regent Lord Yuelong was too inflexible. Rather, the evil spirit's orb was related to the entire god domain. The evil spirits definitely couldn't be reborn. Although they hadn't experienced it themselves, they knew how terrifying the battle between god emperors was from the various destroyed god domains. Once they descended, the previous tragedy would happen again. I wonder how Regent Lord Yuelong would like me to prove myself? Tianyin asked with a smile. Prove that you have the strength of a heavenly god. If you don't, then hand over the evil spirit's orb. It's that simple. Regent Lord Yuelong said sternly. It seems that Regent Lord Yuelong already has an idea. Then please say it. Tianyin gestured. You said that you have the strength to protect it. Then I will send 3 heavenly gods to deal with you. As long as you can withstand their attacks, I will admit that you have the qualifications to be the protector. Otherwise, you will have to hand it over. You can give it to the great Devis, or you can give it to me. It's up to you. Regent Lord Yuelong said. Also, you absolutely can't use the evil spirit's orb. If you use the evil spirit's orb, it will be your loss. That's not a problem. Tianyin readily agreed. He knew that the Regent Lord would send people to test him. This was the simplest and crudest way. There was no better way than this. They didn't know Tianyun's situation, nor had they seen his fighting style. If one wanted to understand a person's overall strength, the most direct way was to fight. Then, Regent Lord Yuelong signaled Heavenly Goddess Towering Ice to make arrangements. Soon, she brought 3 female heavenly gods over. Each of them had sharp eyes. They were truly not inferior to men, who said that female cultivators were weak. These heavenly gods were all extremely strong. Because this was a secret, there were only a few people in the hall. No one else was watching. Youngsters nowadays are getting more and more arrogant. Heavenly Goddess Towering Ice didn't want to call 3 people over. 1 heavenly god was enough. There was no need to call any more. Middle heavenly venerables against heavenly gods? What a joke. They would be instantly killed in one move. Greetings, Regent Lord. The 3 of them were deacons. When they arrived, they greeted respectfully. And you all already know the general situation. Which one of you will go first? Regent Lord Yuelong asked. She will go first. At this time, Tianyin stood up. He pointed at one of the heavenly gods and said with a sharp gaze, I plan to fight with her first. I wonder if that's okay? Regent Lord Yuelong looked at him. She didn't expect that Tianyin would stand up and suggest choosing a person. However, the result was similar. No matter who went first, Tianyin would have to defeat all 3 of them. Only then would it be considered a success. Sure. Regent Lord Yuelong looked at the deacon and said, Deacon by phone, I'll be counting on you to go first. Yes, Regent Lord. Deacon by phone stood up and looked at Tianyin with an indifferent expression. Deacon by phone had an ordinary appearance, but his cultivation was far from ordinary. Being able to cultivate to the heavenly god realm meant that he was definitely not trash. Please advise me. Deacon by phone didn't say much. He waved his palm and attacked Etionyun. There was a huge disparity in their cultivation, but Deacon by phone didn't have any intention of giving way. Heavenly Goddess Towering Eyes had already instructed him, so he naturally knew what to do. For such a serious matter, there was no need to give way. On the battlefield, this was a battle of life and death. The moment Deacon by phone attacked, Etionyun already made his move. Without any hesitation, a 5-dragon divine spear appeared in his hand. With an astonishing speed, he dashed forward and pierced through Deacon by Feng's body, pinning her to the ground. Instant kill. Direct instant kill. More importantly, this was a spar. Why was Etionyun so ruthless? Chapter 16:10. In front of everyone's shocked eyes, Etionyun directly nailed By Feng Deacon to the ground. By Feng Deacon couldn't move at all. The spear had almost pierced through Administrator By Feng's head and killed her on the spot. This was a sparring match. Was there a need to be so cruel? You little brat. You are too ruthless. Get out of my way. Heavenly Goddess Towering Eyes said angrily as she waved her palm at Etionyun. Even Feng Qiu covered her mouth in shock. She didn't think that Etionyun would be so cruel. Even if he wanted to prove himself, there was no need to be so cruel. All he needed to do was defeat his opponent. There was no need to be so cruel. Administrator Bai Feng's eyes were filled with shock. She had only just attacked, and she had already been defeated? What kind of speed was this? She had been too careless. Wait! Region Leader Yuelong waved a hand and stopped Heavenly Goddess Towering Eyes. She looked at Etionyun with a cold expression. Region Leader, what's wrong? This is just a sparring match. There's no need to be so cruel. She was severely injured and almost killed Administrator Bai Feng. Heavenly Goddess Towering Eyes was very anxious. Administrator Bai Feng was her subordinate. How could she not be worried? Look carefully. Region Leader Yuelong's eyes were sharp. She was much calmer. Heavenly Goddess Towering Eyes' pupils contracted upon seeing this. The ground beneath Administrator Bai Feng's feet had been stained by a puddle of inky black blood. A sinister aura was emanating from this blood, and it was quite clear that this was not a normal bloodline. Instead, this was an extremely evil spirit tribe bloodline. Even though there were many races here, none of them were filled with evil energy. Only the bloodline of the evil spirit tribe was black and filled with evil energy. This meant that Administrator Bai Feng was a member of the evil spirit tribe. Everyone knew now. They had all fought against the evil spirit tribe before, so they knew what the bloodline of the evil spirit tribe was like. As one's cultivation base became higher and higher, it was very difficult to tell who was a member of the evil spirit tribe. Who would have thought that Administrator Bai Feng was a member of the evil spirit tribe? This was a very serious matter. When had the evil spirit tribe snuck in? I'm afraid your Deacon Bai Feng is being controlled, Etionyun said indifferently. The moment he laid eyes on Bai Feng, his appraisal eyes immediately saw through it. Previously, he hadn't been able to tell that Empyrean God Tower Cloud was an evil spirit, mainly because his level was simply too high and his cultivation base was simply too high. Bai Feng's cultivation was relatively low, and he was not a true evil spirit race. It was just that his bloodline had been corroded, causing him to look like an evil spirit race. In essence, he was not from the evil spirit race, so he did not directly kill him. Instead, he only restrained Bai Feng. This Heavenly Goddess Towering Eyes was astonished. She hadn't noticed this all this time, but Etionyun had. Even Region Leader Yuelong was unable to detect Administrator Bai Feng's transformation, let alone Heavenly Goddess Towering Eyes. This was their dereliction of duty, especially when they were seen through by Etionyun. That was really embarrassing. I didn't expect Administrator Bai Feng to have already been controlled. Even his bloodline has been modified. It is indeed difficult to tell that he is being controlled. Region Leader Yuelong was more rational. When she first saw this, she was indeed a little angry. Etionyun was simply too ruthless. Even Administrator Bai Feng was not so ruthless, but Etionyun was. However, when she saw the blood, She realized that she had misunderstood Etianyun. Immediately afterward, they rushed over and sealed Administrator by phone. At the same time, they prepared to expel the evil spirit bloodline from his body. Otherwise, he would not be able to break free. While they were sealing him, the others looked at each other. They didn't know how Etianyun had seen through their plan. They recalled that Etianyun had seen through Administrator by phone from the very beginning and immediately stated that he wanted to fight Administrator by phone first. Now, it seemed that he wanted to suppress Administrator by phone. Region Leader Tianyun, how did you know? Region Leader Yuelong turned to look at Etianyun after sealing Administrator by phone. This is based on my intuition. I can feel an evil energy in her body. It is a very familiar evil energy, so I sealed her directly. Etianyun said calmly, I have fought against the evil spirit race before, so I have some experience in this area. He wouldn't say that he had used his appraisal eye. If he just relied on intuition, it would be very easy for him to make a wrong judgment. They looked at each other. Even if it was just intuition, it was too accurate. Wasn't he afraid that it would be inaccurate? However, the truth was right in front of them, so they had to believe it. I see. I am sorry for what happened just now. Heavenly Goddess Ling Bing felt very embarrassed. She really wanted to slap him just now. If it weren't for Region Leader Yuelong, she would have slapped Etianyun away. It would be even more embarrassing if they found out that they had hit the wrong person. That's okay. The point is that she should be your trusted aide. Your so-called evil spirit's pearl is a secret. They probably already know about it, and many of them are probably under their control. Etianyun said in a low voice. To put it bluntly, it is very likely that many of your deacons or disciples have already been firmly under their control and have become their eyes. Unless they were very powerful, they would be easily seen through if they sent evil spirits over. For example, Heavenly God Torrential Cloud could evolve to a very perfect level, so that most people wouldn't be able to detect it. As for the others, they would definitely be easily discovered. Especially when they were recruited, they were seen through. However, it was undoubtedly much easier to capture and control them. Not only did they avoid detection, but they were also trusted aides, so it was even easier to obtain information. Hearing this, their expressions changed. Perhaps they really had noticed it a long time ago. They thought that they wouldn't be discovered because they had information about the evil spirit's pearl, but now it seemed that they had been discovered a long time ago. They just thought that they hadn't been discovered. Region Leader Tianyun, can I ask you to help me investigate the situation here and find all of them? Region Leader Yuelong said coldly. No problem. Etianyun had the same intention. Now was not the time to prove himself, but to quickly find these disciples who were under their control. Immediately, Etianyun went out with Region Leader Yuelong. They first started from the Elder Palace, then went to other areas. Although she could gather all of the disciples, she didn't want to alert them. More importantly, she didn't want to spread the influence of this matter. This was a very big matter. If she gathered all of the disciples, it would definitely cause panic. She would rather slow down and not make a mess. Chapter 16:11. As they went to more and more planets, Etianyun would find more and more cultivators. Basically, there were several disciples with contaminated bloodlines on every planet. These corrupted disciples all held important positions, which meant that they had access to a lot of information. This was a very cruel situation. Region Lord Yuelong's expression became more and more serious. She had never thought that such a situation would happen in her own faction. She had been investigating all kinds of situations. For example, when recruiting disciples, she would investigate the situation layer by layer, inside and out. As long as there was even a little bit of information, she would not hire them. If they really felt that this disciple was not bad and had some vague information, they would be hired, but they would be temporarily placed on a planet. They would only be allowed to move around after the investigation. Who would have thought that the evil spirit race would not start with those who had just joined? Instead, they would target those disciples who held important positions. They would probably catch them while they were training and quickly contaminate their bloodlines. This was equivalent to gradually controlling their souls and making them listen to their control. This method was very ruthless, and the price was also very high. The higher the cultivation, the higher the price. However, as a plunderer, the evil spirit race had astonishing resources. It was definitely enough for them to squander freely. After the planets were quickly searched, Etienne took a deep breath and said, "It's almost done. We've searched all of them. As for those who are especially hidden or have not returned, I can't guarantee anything. At least those here have contaminated bloodlines. Regent Lord Yuelong can check them one by one." Regent Lord Yuelong brought this group of people back to the Elders' Hall. The others were still there. There were dozens of disciples here, including heavenly venerables and divine lords. They were all at different cultivation levels. So many? After seeing this, they immediately gasped. This was really terrible. So many disciples have been infected. If this was really the case, not only would their information be exposed, but there would also be no secrets to speak of. Unless it was some special secret. Most of them would not be secrets at all. There are indeed a lot. Let me check them one by one. Regent Lord Yuelong hoped that Etienne's judgment was wrong. She hoped that not so many disciples' bloodlines had been infected. This number was really shocking. All of them were expressionless. After being controlled, they could not move at all. Soon after, Regent Lord Yulong cut off their arms one by one. Soon, blood flowed out. It was a rather terrifying black blood. There were no exceptions. Regent Lord Yuelong's hope was undoubtedly shattered. Moreover, it was shattered in a very cruel manner. Not a single one of them was wrong. They were all correct. Etienne's appraisal eyes, if he was wrong about this, he would really be blind. Not a single one of them is wrong. Regent Lord Yuelong's heart sank to the bottom. She just didn't want to have so many questions, but not a single one of them was wrong. The others wiped off their cold sweat. They didn't expect there to be so many of them. They were so deeply rooted that all the regions were covered. Etienne's expression was indifferent. He already knew that there wouldn't be any mistakes. If there really was a mistake, then it would be because they were mistaken. Their bloodlines have been contaminated and forcibly controlled. If we want to get rid of it, not only will we have to clean up their bloodlines, but we will also have to kill the person controlling them. Etienne said indifferently, "I am not very clear about this. It will be up to Regent Lord Yuelong to find out." Etienne's appraisal eyes couldn't tell who was controlling them. Their situation was very simple. First, their bloodlines were contaminated, and then they were controlled. This control was equivalent to signing a slave contract. Needless to say, they had to kill the person controlling them in order to get rid of them. "Yes, I will take care of this," Regent Lord Yuelong said in a deep voice. "I really didn't expect so many of them to be controlled. This is really beyond my imagination. If it wasn't for Regent Lord Tienyan's help, I really would have been kept in the dark, thinking that this would never happen." Heavenly Goddess Towering Ice and the others were extremely ashamed. They really thought that they had done a good job and that there was absolutely no traitor among them. Now, there was indeed no traitor among them, but they were forcibly controlled to become traitors. They were all innocent, but they were forcibly controlled. They couldn't struggle even if they wanted to. This kind of method infuriated them, and they felt like killing someone. "Don't worry, I just helped along the way." Etienne nodded and said, "By the way, that proof. There is no need for that. With your previous strength, you have already proved that you can deal with heavenly gods without much problem. Furthermore, he has such a special sense that he is able to detect any abnormalities when the other party approaches. Just this point alone is something we can't compare with." Regent Lord Yuelong nodded and said, "In this way, you are more reliable than us in keeping the evil spirit's orb. However, you are too young to be a guardian of the evil spirit's orb. It will have a great impact on you. That is all I have to say. What you do is up to you. All that is left is to form an alliance. The three major forces will form a secret alliance." She was not in a good mood. With so many disciples being controlled, how could she be in a good mood? She was in a very bad mood. Then, they immediately began to sign the alliance agreement and swear an alliance oath. After the alliance was formed, a voice sounded. "Ding! Successfully completed the special quest, Ally with Yuelong, Celestial Realm. Reward: main quest difficulty reduced by half, 10,000 crazy points, 10,000 proficiency points, and increase the friendship between Yuelong Celestial Realm and Xiutian Celestial Realm. This task was relatively easy to complete. Although it was a bit complicated, it was still within the acceptable range. It was just that they were not in a good mood. After all, so many cultivators had been controlled. If it was anyone else, they would not be happy. It could even be said that their mood was very heavy. That's it for the time being. I still have something to deal with here. You can wander around here. Regent Lord Yuelong was naturally busy with a lot of things. First of all, she had to restore all the bloodline of her subordinates and then find out who was controlling them. This matter was enough to keep her busy for a long time. Since Lord Yuelong has something to do, we will not bother you anymore. They knew that Lord Yuelong had a lot of things to do, so they left for the time being. After all, there was still a lot of things to be done here. Since their goal has been achieved, there was no need to stay here any longer. Immediately, Tianyin and the others left together. Lord Yuelong and the others sent them off and then went to deal with some things. Chapter 16:12. In a special area, an extremely furious voice came. What's going on? Our spies have all been seen through and captured? Yes, they were all caught. Not a single one was spared. I tried to contact them and found that they're all under control. There's no way to get any information. Damn it. How did they see through us? They won't be discovered unless they're attacked. Now you're telling me that not a single one was spared? This is too great a loss. Yes, we can't even control them to commit suicide now. They're all imprisoned. I can sense that it's impossible to make them self-destruct or harm themselves. If they could do that, they wouldn't be so strong. We've spent so much time and effort to take root in Yuelong's God realm. Now they're all gone. How are we going to play? Why don't we send someone to sneak in and attack them now? There's no rush. Yuelong's God realm isn't so easy to deal with. Even if we want to deal with it, we have to deal with Heaven Cultivation God realm first. Heaven Cultivation God realm's current comprehensive strength is much weaker than Yuelong's God realm. They were ambushed once before and suffered some losses. Then we'll attack Heaven Cultivation God realm? Do you believe that I can throw you out of here? Yes. If you believe me, then shut up. We'll talk about these things later. The situation in Heaven Cultivation God realm this time is surprising, especially the famous Heavenly Venerables. We have to be prepared before attacking. We already know that there are 2 Evil Spirits Pearls and 2 other Evil Spirits Pearls. One is Infected God realm, where's the other one? In this special area, they were discussing this matter. Everything was waiting for an opportunity. They already knew who had the Evil Spirits Pearls. It would be much easier if they knew. At the same time, Tianyin followed the Great Devis back to Heaven Cultivation God realm. Although Yuelong's God realm wasn't doing too well, they were still in a good mood. If they could ally with Yuelong's God realm, they would be more secure in future battles. If they were besieged, they would immediately contact Yuelong's celestial realm. At that time, they would work together from the inside and outside, trapping them immediately. Not a single one of them would be able to escape. Tianyin, I wonder if there are any disciples in our cultivation celestial realm who are being controlled in this aspect? After returning from Yuelong's celestial realm, the Great Devis immediately wanted Tianyin to investigate. Master, don't be nervous. The Heavenly Cultivation God realm doesn't have such a situation for the time being. Tianyin looked at the Great Devis's nervous expression. He was really frightened by Yuelong's God realm. With so many disciples being controlled, just the thought of it was terrifying. Not only would the secret be leaked, but the key point was that they might be stabbed in the back. Just thinking about it was terrifying. That's true. There are no secrets in the divine realm of cultivation. Even the ancestors are from the evil spirit race. There's no need to do this at all. The Great Devis shook his head self-deprecatingly. The cost of infecting the bloodline and then controlling it was too high. In particular, Heavenly God Sky Cloud was a traitor. Why would they need to do this? Empyrean God Torrential Cloud's Urge was able to roam freely in any region without fear of being discovered, and he was even able to go wherever he pleased. All right, I almost forgot to ask. What kind of perfect suppression method are you talking about? The Great Devis was still very worried about Tianyin's situation. If the Evil Spirit's Pearl remained in his possession, it would definitely affect him greatly. Actually, this is the method. Etianyan reached out and dragged the evil spirit puppet out. There was the evil spirit's pearl on it, and a dense evil aura emanated from it, making Sure Shuyan feel very uncomfortable. Etianyan stood in front of her and blocked the evil aura. This is the evil spirit puppet from before. The great Devis knew that Etianyan had an evil spirit puppet a long time ago, but he didn't expect it to be used like this. That's right, this is the evil spirit puppet. I've embedded the evil spirit's pearl on it, and it'll be able to suppress it. Because it can sever one's blood energy, there's no need to worry about it being extracted, and it can also achieve a sealing effect. Etianyan smiled. I won't be able to seal it myself. Come to think of it, I can seal another evil spirit's pearl without any problems. If possible, ask Patriarch Yudong to give me the evil spirit's pearl. It'll be safer that way. You should say that this way, Realm Lord Shotian won't have to suffer like this. I'll talk to Patriarch Yudong about this. I've never been able to find a perfect sealing effect. If it's that effective, then I can give it to you. However, it looks like Patriarch Yudong won't give it to you. The great Devis spoke in a solemn voice. I'm just worried that if you're surrounded, you'll suffer too many losses, and you'll be in even more danger. With two evil spirits' pearls on him, if Etianyan were to be killed, he would lose two of them. Moreover, it would increase the danger to him, unless Etianyan really had heaven-defying power. And I'll leave this to Master. If it doesn't work, then there's no other way. Etianyan still hoped that he could keep the evil spirit's pearl. Not to mention anything else, he was quite confident in his ability to escape. Unless it was an extremely heaven-defying existence, he could still escape. There was nothing else to do here for the time being, so Etianyan brought Sure Shuyan back. Venerable Feng Qiu temporarily stayed in Yuelong God Domain. It had been a long time since she returned. This time, she would definitely stay there for a while. When they returned to the Three Realms God Domain, Etianyan smiled and said, I told you, you can definitely help, and there's no need to be nervous. This counts as helping, isn't it just saying a few more words? Although she said that, Sure Shuyan was still very happy. To be able to form an alliance with such a powerful force, her contribution was great. After all, it was all thanks to Sure Shuyan that they managed to persuade Yuelong God Domain. A few more words is enough. Etianyan carried her, scaring Sure Shuyan so much that she screamed. She was really frightened. We'll be seen. Sure Shuyan blushed. You're really old and frivolous. What kind of situation is this? And you're still playing like this? Look as you please, provided that they can see. Etianyan laughed and carried her back to their residence. Things were done for the time being. Now, he needed a good rest and to improve the Three Realms God Domain. There were still many things that he had not read carefully. After obtaining the Divine Spirit Clan's Patriarch's treasure, there were still many things that he needed to improve. Chapter 16:13. During this time, Etianyan stayed in the secret room, reading all kinds of martial arts and cultivation experiences. The key was to understand the secrets of the divine realm and the situation of the evil spirit race. There were very detailed records here, but there was also a lot of missing information. However, everything that needed to be recorded was basically recorded here. Overall, the records were very detailed. For example, the number of heretic gods' orbs was clearly recorded here. There was no need to guess who took them, as they were all recorded here. In the cultivation divine realm, Yuelong divine realm, Fekta divine realm, and the divine spirit race. There were a total of 4 evil spirits' pearls sealed in the head, hands, feet, and body. It could be said that the evil spirits were divided into 4 parts and sealed in the evil spirits' pearls. These were all recorded by the divine spirit race's elders. The divine spirit race's patriarch died in the battle, so the rest of the records were naturally left to the descendants. As for the other divine spirit race members, after the battle, they all went to the inner divine realm. As for the 3 realms, it was controlled by a few divine spirit race elders alone. They didn't bring too many divine spirits with them. Although the elders of the god spirit race had come, they weren't in charge of the affairs of the 3 realms. They were in charge of strengthening the seals here. As time passed, they gradually died until only one divine spirit race elder was left. The Fecta Divine Realm really has evil spirits' pearls. After reading it, Etianyan quickly flipped through it to see if there was a way to get to the Fecta Divine Realm. The Fecta Divine Realm was very mysterious. No one knew where it was. If they could join forces with the Fecta Divine Realm, it would undoubtedly be safer. The four evil spirits' pearls would fall into the hands of different forces, and no one would know. This was to make it safer, and they didn't want other forces to know. Now that he knew, if he still foolishly fought alone, he would obviously be at a disadvantage. Therefore, it was best to join forces. That would be the strongest defense. After all, they were alone, and the situation wasn't ideal. Joining forces was the right way. Soon, Etianyan found a way to get to the Fecta Divine Realm. So that's how we get to the Fecta Divine Realm. It's quite complicated. No wonder we can't find it. Even if we find it, it won't be easy to get in. After learning the method, Etianyan felt that it was quite amazing. If he didn't list it, he wouldn't be able to find the Fecta Divine Realm either. Just searching for information was pointless. After all, there were all kinds of information. No one knew which was true. Of them. Of information. The main reason was that some of the information was that the Fecta had been leaked. It should be said that most of the information had been released by the Fecta Divine Realm. If one were to follow this information and search for it, they might not be able to find it even if they died. Etianyan immediately set off to search for the Fecta Divine Realm. At first, he couldn't contact the Fecta Divine Realm, but now that he was at a critical juncture, he had to contact the Fecta Divine Realm. From the looks of these attacks, it was very likely that the evil spirit race would launch a major attack to snatch the evil spirit's pearl. He didn't know how many years it had been, but it seemed like they had been accumulating their strength and were ready to attack in one go to snatch away the evil spirit's pearl. Yuelong's god domain was the best proof. They had spent a lot of time preparing for this. Not only did he want to snatch the evil spirit's orb, but he also wanted to control the evil spirit's orb. It's hard to say. The Fecta Divine Realm might have fallen into their hands as well. Etianyan knew that the Fecta Divine Realm was a very mysterious place, but he didn't know if they could really defend it. Everything was possible. It was better to investigate and find out. Etianyan left for the Myriad World God domain after he had settled the matter. The key to the Fecta Divine Realm wasn't in some special area, or in some special ruins, or in some random rock. It was in the Myriad Realm's Divine Realm. No one had expected the Fecta Divine Realm to be in the Myriad Realm's Divine Realm. In such a chaotic Myriad Realm's Divine Realm, it was hard to hide anything. However, the Fecta Divine Realm was hidden there. The more dangerous the place, the safer it was. After Etianyan arrived at the Myriad Realm's Divine Realm, he went straight to the world that led to the Fecta Divine Realm. There was no defense here, so he could enter at will. After entering, he saw a huge temple. Many cultivators came and went. This was called the Temple of Heavenly Luck. There was a huge statue inside, which was the Heavenly Luck God. Legend had it that as long as one worshipped the Heavenly Luck God, their luck would improve. Therefore, many cultivators often came to worship the Heavenly Luck God, especially when they were preparing for a breakthrough or heading to a dangerous place. They would come to worship the Heavenly Luck God. There were cultivators from all the major forces, but most of them were lone cultivators. Of course, there were also many cultivators who were extremely disdainful of this. Compared to believing in other people's luck, it was better to believe in their own fists. In theory, worshipping the Heavenly Luck God would not increase one's luck. After all, it was only the Heavenly Luck God, not the heavens. The Heavenly Luck God's ability was not that powerful. At the end of the day, it was just the Heavenly Luck God. The Fecta Divine Realm is really interesting. I didn't expect the entrance to be built here. Who would have thought that this was the entrance to the Fecta Divine Realm? No one would believe that the real entrance to the Fecta Divine Realm was in this temple. The Temple of Heavenly Luck God that had existed for a long time was the entrance to the Fecta Divine Realm. Of course, There was more than one entrance, but this was naturally the closest one. It was also the easiest one to get to. After all, it was not far from Tianyun, and he could easily get there by locking onto the coordinates here. After Tianyun entered, he was greeted by the sight of the majestic temple. Right in front of him was the huge heavenly luck god. The heavenly luck god was a woman. She looked extremely beautiful, and her fingers formed a lotus flower as she looked over with a smile on her face. No matter which angle they looked at it from, it was as if she was looking at them. This gave them the illusion that the heavenly god of luck was still alive, and she was constantly watching over them. All of the cultivators who came to pay their respects were tossing all types of spirit medicines, spirit flowers, pills, and even some treasures into the massive box. These were the tributes for the heavenly luck god. With so many cultivators coming and going, the total amount of tributes accumulated was definitely going to be astonishing. Chapter 16:14. If Tianyun had not seen it in the records, he would not have believed that this was one of the entrances to the Fecta divine realm. The Temple of Luck was a place that everyone in the divine realm knew about. To them, it was a very sacred place. Therefore, it would be very difficult to tamper with this place. It could be said that the most dangerous place was also the safest place. This place was dangerous enough. So many cultivators came and went, but they just could not find the entrance to the Fecta divine realm. It should be said that those who came here were here to worship Heavenly Goddess Luck, not to find the Fecta divine realm. Heavenly Goddess Luck. Tianyun looked at the statue. It was a female cultivator, which was not surprising. However, this statue was very lifelike. No wonder so many people were attracted to it. Just as he was about to investigate further, a group of Empyrean gods suddenly rushed in from outside the door. One of the Empyrean gods in the lead pointed at the statue and said, "Move her away from me. Be gentle with your movements. If you break this statue, I'll make you guys suffer." "Yes, my lord." At this time, a group of heavenly venerables rushed toward the statue of Heavenly Goddess Luck. When the cultivators nearby saw this, they hurriedly stopped them. "What are you doing? If you don't want to die, get out of my way. If anyone interferes, don't blame me for being merciless." The heavenly god who came roared angrily. His heavenly god power pressed down. Many cultivators who came to worship the statue felt their legs weaken, and they directly knelt on the ground. There were no heavenly gods who came to worship the statue. Everyone was a heavenly god, so why would they worship the statue? Therefore, most cultivators were below the heavenly god level. The highest level was only heavenly venerables, and most of them were around the divine lord level. There was no way to resist a heavenly god. If they resisted, only death would be waiting for them. These guys want to come and steal the statue of Heavenly Goddess Luck just because their cultivation is high. That's right. These guys will definitely be haunted by bad luck. Heavenly Goddess Luck, curse these rude people and let them be haunted by bad luck. They kept praying in their hearts, hoping that these rude people would be punished. This statue of the Heavenly Luck God is going to be mine soon. It's so beautiful. If I can't marry the Heavenly Luck God, at least the statue of the Heavenly Luck God will be mine. The Heavenly God's eyes were filled with fanaticism. It was clear that he was a fanatical admirer of the Heavenly Luck God. The Heavenly God of Luck really did have such a person, and he was still alive. As for where he was, he didn't know. However, one thing was clear, and that was that he had many pursuers. This is really funny. Tianyun couldn't help but laugh. He didn't think that such a situation would happen. There were people who came to snatch the statue. This was really funny. It looked like the Heavenly God of Luck really was extraordinarily charming. Otherwise, why would someone even want to steal a statue? He might not be able to woo a person, but moving a statue is not a problem. When these Empyreans went over and surrounded the statue, the surrounding cultivators didn't dare to say anything. They could only stare at them from the side. They wanted to risk their lives, but it was meaningless. In the face of a heavenly god, no matter how much they wanted to protect the Heavenly God of Luck, they would be slapped to death like ants. Get ready to lift it. Several Empyreans reached out and grabbed onto the statue, preparing to move it away. However, Just as they made contact with the statue of the heavenly god of luck and were about to lift it up, their legs suddenly buckled, and they fell to the side. Their heads smashed viciously against each other, and many of them felt dizzy. What's going on? I actually tripped? That's strange, me too. How did this happen? They all got up, but they had only just gotten up when a brick suddenly came crashing down from above, landing heavily on their heads. With a loud bang, a pile of dust was sent flying into the air. They were all fine. They were Empyreans, so they wouldn't actually suffer any injuries from being hit by these bricks. However, they were in an extremely sorry state. They were wrapped in a pile of white dust, and it looked as if they had jumped into a pile of dust. The surrounding cultivators instantly roared with laughter. These rude people were indeed being punished. However, this wasn't the end. They began to yell loudly, asking who had sneak attacked them. One of them tilted his body and directly smashed into his companion, sending him flying. None of them suffered any serious injuries, but they appeared to be in an extremely sorry state. To put it bluntly, it was just some small scuffles that made them look extremely sorry. "What are you all doing?" The heavenly god at the side roared angrily. What kind of idiots had he found? They had become like this just by moving a statue. "My lord, this is very strange. It looks like we're really plagued by bad luck." Those Empyreans didn't dare to touch the statue of the heavenly god of luck anymore. They had only just touched it, and they had already suffered so much. They weren't injured, but it was extremely embarrassing. So many people were watching from the side. How could they not feel embarrassed? "Damn it, let me do it!" The heavenly god flew into a rage. He raised his hand and sent those Empyreans flying to the side. He raised his foot and walked toward the heavenly god of luck. He reached out and grabbed the statue of the heavenly god of luck. Just as he was about to carry it away, suddenly, another brick came crashing down. It very cleverly smashed into his head, and he didn't even have the slightest reaction. With a loud bang, the heavenly god was smashed until his head was covered in dirt, and he looked extremely sorry. Most importantly, he hadn't sensed anything at all. He had been ambushed by a brick. However, the heavenly god didn't give up. He grabbed the statue of the heavenly god of luck and lifted it up. However, the statue didn't move at all. It remained firmly in place. What's going on? Why is it so stable? The heavenly god didn't believe it and continued to lift it up. However, for some reason, a weapon from one of his companions swung over and smashed into his body. "What are you doing?" The heavenly god turned around in rage. Fortunately, the weapon didn't stab him. It merely smashed into him. "My lord, I'm sorry. I just wanted to check the weapon. I didn't think my hand would slip." The Empyrean felt so wrong that he wanted to die. He didn't even know why his hand had slipped. Scram! The heavenly god waved his hand angrily and sent the Empyrean flying. He then continued to move the statue. However, no matter what he did, he was unable to move it. Instead, he was plagued by all kinds of bad luck. If it wasn't bricks, it was all kinds of weapons that came crashing down on him. There were even some small insects that crawled up his body. On the side, Etienne was very surprised. He could sense the energy fluctuations here. To be more accurate, it was the fluctuations of his luck stat. These Empyreans' luck stat really plummeted when they were being rude to the statue. Chapter 16:15. This should have something to do with the formation. Etienne scanned the area. There were many formations set up in the heavenly deity temple, and there were definitely formations that could affect providence. Otherwise, it would be rather difficult to affect a person's providence. However, he believed that the heavenly goddess of luck's own luck must be extremely astonishing. Otherwise, she really wouldn't have the guts to call herself the heavenly goddess of luck. The main thing was that she was lucky enough to do everything with luck. It wasn't that such cultivators didn't exist, but they were extremely rare. These people were even more talented than geniuses. They could be said to be top-notch monsters. Providence accounted for most of a cultivator's potential. It could be said that the fortuitous encounter completely depended on providence. For example, if one entered a forest with amazing providence, they could casually take a few steps and find amazing spirit herbs. Then, They could casually take a few steps and find an inheritance left behind by a certain senior. Others probably wouldn't be able to find anything even if they dug 3 feet into the ground. This kind of providence could casually dig around and find all kinds of ancient divine artifacts. It was simply infuriating to compare oneself with others. This kind of heaven-defying luck often went too smoothly, and it was easy for them to encounter bottlenecks or not be able to withstand any setbacks. However, seeing that the heavenly goddess of luck could cultivate to the heavenly god level, she definitely wouldn't be too weak. Luck is really a good thing. Etienne had experienced it himself, so how could he not know? He had a very high luck value. After activating the luck halo, there was no need to describe the effects. However, sometimes he didn't need it, so he was too lazy to activate it. After all, sometimes after activating it, he could indeed find some treasures, but the treasures didn't meet his needs, so he was too lazy to activate it. Just as he was thinking about how to go to the Fecta divine realm, another group of heavenly venerables and a heavenly god arrived. Take this heavenly goddess of luck statue away. If it's even slightly damaged, I'll make you suffer. A familiar feeling appeared in front of everyone again. This was most likely another competitor who was trying to steal the heavenly god of luck. When this heavenly god saw the other heavenly god, he was furious. "What did you do to my goddess?" After saying that, this heavenly god came over and beat him up. Another heavenly god was also furious. "What do you mean by your goddess? This is my goddess." After that, they started fighting crazily. The other Empyreans looked at each other in dismay. What was going on? These two heavenly gods fought crazily all the way from here to the outside of Luck Heavenly God Temple. They still knew their limits. He knew that no reckless actions were allowed here. If he were to use too much force and damage the statue of the heavenly luck god, then he would be in deep trouble. When they rushed out to determine the victor, the place immediately quieted down, restoring its previous tranquility. The Empyreans who came looked at each other. The master who hired them had gone to fight, so they were not in a hurry to move the statue for the time being. You were hired to move the statue, right? I advise you not to do anything rash. Blaspheming the heavenly god of luck will bring you bad luck. We'll be taking our leave now. The last batch of Empyreans took advantage of the fact that the heavenly god that hired them was fighting outside to leave in a hurry, not daring to stay here any longer. If they continued to stay here, they didn't know what would happen. They didn't want to embarrass themselves. As a heavenly venerate, he really couldn't afford to lose face in front of so many cultivators. After warning them, they hurriedly left this place. The other Empyreans looked at each other, not knowing whether they should continue or not. While the heavenly gods outside were locked in a fierce battle, another batch of Empyreans rushed in from outside. There was also a heavenly god among them. Hurry up and move the statue of the heavenly god of luck down. If you damage it even a little bit, you're dead. This time it was a female heavenly god. Unexpectedly, she was also a worshiper of the heavenly god of luck and wanted to move the statue away. The result was no different. The Empyreans who moved the statue were immediately covered in dust. The Empyreans who were watching from the side were all dumbfounded. Would they really be plagued by bad luck? Not only were their own people fighting each other, but bricks would also fall from the sky. What the hell? They took advantage of the fact that the heavenly god that hired them were locked in a fierce battle to quickly run away. How would they dare to stay here any longer? Etienne, who was watching from the side, couldn't help but laugh. The Fecta Divine Realm was indeed the Fecta Divine Realm. Even the formations they set up were so strange. However, he believed that the heavenly god of luck was also from the Fecta Divine Realm. It was just that no one would have guessed that the heavenly god of luck was from the Fecta Divine Realm. He then ignored them and made his way behind the statue of the heavenly god of luck. There were also many cultivators worshipping the statue there. The heavenly god of luck's back is still so beautiful. She's so beautiful. That's right. I hope the heavenly god of luck can bless me with good luck. If only I could marry the heavenly god of luck. *T. Do you think the heavenly god of luck will take a fancy to someone like you with such a low cultivation base? The fact that they were discussing the statue behind its back showed just how popular the heavenly god of luck was. Tianyun shook his head and turned his gaze to the statue behind the heavenly god of luck. The real entrance was on the statue's back. To be more precise, he was looking for clues from the heavenly god of luck's back. Soon, Tianyun found a faint white dot. This white dot was actually very inconspicuous, and many cultivators would basically overlook it. After all, it was quite meaningless. Wasn't it normal for a statue to have a white dot on it? Tianyun looked toward the white, and his gaze just so happened to fall on a small square brick. This square brick was only one of the tens of thousands of square bricks here, and there was nothing special about it. However, this square brick was the key to leading to the real passageway. All of the other square bricks were completely useless. Tianyun looked around, and he quickly flew over while everyone was staring at the heavenly god of luck before extending a hand to touch this square brick. His body then flashed, and he disappeared on the spot. He didn't need to break any spell formations or anything like that. All he had to do was gently touch it, and he would immediately enter the real passageway. This was actually similar to a teleportation spell formation in that anyone who touched it would be teleported away. No one noticed that someone was missing, and no one paid any attention to Tianyun. After all, it wasn't a big deal for a heavenly venerate to wander around here, so no one would pay any attention to him. After entering, Tianyun discovered that he had appeared in a very ordinary passageway with no bright spots around him. He didn't think too much about it, and he continued onward. Just as he was about to reach the exit, a beautiful figure appeared at the entrance of the passageway, blocking his way. "Who are you?" A very pleasant voice sounded from up ahead. Chapter 16:16. Tianyun didn't think that he would encounter the heavenly luck goddess here. This heavenly luck goddess was the guardian of the passageway and wouldn't allow anyone to pass through. Everyone was searching for the heavenly luck goddess. But who would have thought that she would be here? Heavenly luck goddess? Tianyun looked at her with a smile. "A bunch of cultivators are arguing over your statue. Who would have thought that you would be hiding here?" The heavenly luck goddess was quite powerful, having reached the intermediate heavenly god intermediate stage. She was also quite young, only around 1,000 years old. She was around the same age as heavenly venerate Fengqiu, but her cultivation base was far more powerful than heavenly venerate Fengqiu's. Her entire body exuded the aura of luck, as if one would be able to find many treasures just by strolling around with her. Many cultivators were envious of the state of being doted on by thousands of people. "I'm asking who you are." The heavenly luck goddess's brows furrowed as she flicked a finger, upon which the passageway around them was quickly sealed off, trapping Tianyun. This was an extremely important passageway, so she couldn't just let anyone pass through, especially not a cultivator with an unknown identity. She didn't know how he had found it, but it was quite miraculous that he had managed to find it by accident. There were so many bricks here, and they were all the most inconspicuous ones. Unless one was specifically looking for them, they would most likely be unable to find them no matter how they were thrown or smashed. However, Tianyun had come here, and he was only an intermediate heavenly venerate, which made her very confused. "I'm here to form an alliance with the Fectus Sacred Realm. I bear no ill will," Tianyun explained. "Fectus Sacred Realm?" The heavenly luck goddess' heart sank, but she maintained a calm expression. "There's no such place. This is my territory. Who else knows about this place aside from you?" The heavenly luck goddess immediately refused to admit that this was the passageway to the Fectus Sacred Realm. At the same time, a faint light began to appear on her palm, and killing intent began to surge from her eyes. There was no doubt that she was planning to silence him. The passageway to the Fectus Sacred Realm could not be made known to anyone. This action naturally fell into Tianyun's eyes. If it were him, he wouldn't let this trespasser get away so easily. The mysteries of the Fecta Divine Realm and the situation of the evil spirits' pearl could not be allowed to spread. "Don't be nervous. Only I know about this passageway. I knew about this place, that's why I came here. To be clear, I am also the guardian of the evil spirit's orb. I believe you should know about this thing, right?" Etienne said straightforwardly. With the heavenly luck god's cultivation base and status, it wouldn't be an issue for her to know about the evil spirit's pearl. It was better to directly state the purpose of his visit than to fight. Especially towards his own people, he had no intention of fighting. If they wanted to fight, they should just kill him, not spar. You're the guardian of the evil spirit's orb? The heavenly luck god's eyes narrowed as she sized up Etienne, as if she wanted to see through him. Stop messing with me. You're only an intermediate heavenly venerate, and you're telling me you're a guardian? Etienne shook his head and immediately released the aura of the evil spirit's orb. After sensing the evil spirit's orb, the heavenly luck god's expression shifted. Such a familiar feeling, it was definitely the heretic god's orb, and not something else. Only the aura of the evil spirit's orb could be so sinister. Heavenly luck god, is this the aura of the evil spirit's orb? Etienne asked with a faint smile. This is indeed the aura of the evil spirit's orb. However, your cultivation base is so low, yet you're acting as a guardian. This is very dangerous. The heavenly luck god wore a solemn expression. As a guardian, she knew what it meant to be a guardian. That's another matter. I want to form an alliance with the Fectus Sacred Realm. Do I have the right to do so as a guardian? Etienne asked with a smile. I don't know if you have the right to do so, but you do have the right to enter. The killing intent in the heavenly luck god's eyes disappeared, and she gestured for him to follow her. Etienne followed her, and after passing through the passageway, he was greeted by the sight of a series of teleportation formations. There were many teleportation formations here. As far as the eye could see, there were at least 1,000 teleportation arrays densely packed together. Etienne was a little dumbstruck. There were so many teleportation formations just to fool an invader? Heavenly luck god, you don't even have to stand guard here. Just these teleportation formations alone are enough to give me a hard time. Etienne shook his head with a wry smile. He could see the teleportation formations with his detection eyes, but he really didn't know which one was the real teleportation formation. The records didn't go into too much detail. It was only stated that one could enter the Fectus Sacred Realm through the Heavenly Luck Temple. You have to be careful about everything. The Heavenly Luck God pulled out a piece of jade. Come on in. Only then can I take you in. All right. Etienne immediately entered the jade without any hesitation. The Heavenly Luck God faltered upon hearing this. She didn't think that Etienne would agree so readily. Normally, entering a jade formation was equivalent to being trapped. Even though one could break out of it, it wasn't that simple. Etienne went in without hesitation, which made her change her opinion a bit. The Heavenly Luck God didn't say anything else before flying toward the real area. Etienne had to have done his homework before he dared to enter. If it really was something that couldn't be broken, then he definitely wouldn't dare to enter. Furthermore, he knew the rules here, so he definitely couldn't let him know the real route. Even if he was the owner of the evil spirit's pearl, who could guarantee that he was a companion. He was only released after staying in the Jade Formation for a while. When he came out, he was immediately astonished by the scene before him. If Yuelong's divine realm was beautiful before, then this place was filled with extreme fantasies. The houses around him weren't ordinary houses at all. Instead, they were all special houses that could be moved. Not only that, but there were also many mechanical airships flying through the air. There was a massive sun directly overhead. It wasn't actually a sun at all. Instead, it was a sun that was filled with all types of mechanical parts. The sun slowly rotated in the air, transmitting bursts of warm energy to all of the machinery here. There were many cultivators coming and going in front of him. All of them were dressed in different attires, and they were all carrying many mechanical tools on their backs. What a mystical world. Cultivation and machinery are combined? Etienne was truly astonished upon seeing this. This was far too miraculous. Chapter 16-17. A world of machinery and cultivation appeared in front of Etienne. There were special machinery everywhere, and there were also mechanical guards made of machinery. They were all huge and looked very shocking. The core that drove them was the core, which meant that many cores were needed to drive them. However, just a little bit was enough to drive them. The sun in the sky could continuously replenish their energy. Correspondingly, if they left this place, it would be very difficult to maintain for too long in the divine domain outside. At that time, they would need to replenish their core energy. Otherwise, they would not be able to last for long. At the same time, they were very strong. For example, these guards were all at the Divine Lord level. As for the Empyrean level, Etianyan had not seen them yet. He believed that there were still some, but not many. An Empyrean level puppet guard was not that easy to create. In particular, these machine-made puppets were even more difficult. However, even if they were ordinary puppets, making an Empyrean level puppet was shockingly difficult, and the cost was even more shocking. Empyreans were already very strong. Although they could not compare to heavenly gods, they were still Empyreans. They were strong enough to fight in many battles. Now, these mechanical puppets could replace a lot of their combat power. At least they were not afraid of death, and they did not have to worry about dying. If they died, they died. They could just make another one. In addition to the mechanical guards, there were all kinds of flying spirit ships and flying mechanical beasts. These mechanical beasts were made of some special materials. Most of them were relatively familiar materials. Only a small part of the core area was not so easy to identify. On the surface, most cultivators could tell what materials they were made of, but the inside was not so sure. The key was still the technology inside, which was the most important. So this is the Fected Divine Domain. How interesting. Etianyan looked around. In addition to these mechanical guards, there were many cultivators coming and going. There were different levels of cultivation, and the lowest was at the Star Lord level. These disciples seemed to be filled with wisdom. Their eyes were filled with a boundless thirst for knowledge, as well as boundless wisdom. If one wanted to join the Fected Divine Domain, they would not be able to do so without an extremely high comprehension ability. Otherwise, if they could not understand even after a long explanation, they would have joined for nothing. Is it interesting? A smile appeared on the heavenly luck goddess face. It is indeed very interesting. The Fected Divine Realm is truly a miracle of this era. She held the Fected Divine Realm in high esteem. She felt that the Fected Divine Realm could create anything and everything, and that they were practically omnipotent gods. Even if they cultivated to the heavenly god realm, they still wouldn't be able to create life. However, the Fected Divine Realm could. Although this kind of life form had no intelligence, it could still become intelligent through the support of artifact spirits. This was the perfect combination of machinery and cultivation, thus making up for the rigidity of machinery. It is indeed a miracle. Etianyan followed the heavenly god of luck all the way, and the cultivators around him looked at him from top to bottom. Over the years, there were very few unfamiliar faces that came in. As such, while greeting the heavenly god of luck, they were constantly appraising Etianyan, trying to glean something from him. However, none of them asked any questions. The heavenly goddess of luck was far more qualified than them, so they were too embarrassed to ask any more questions. Under the guidance of the heavenly god of luck, they arrived at a special palace, which was also filled with machinery. However, there was a huge mechanical hourglass hanging on the wall here, from which special quicksand slowly fell. Etianyan could sense that the passage of time around him was clearly being controlled by this mechanical hourglass, thereby making time flow much more slowly than outside. I'm too busy, there's not enough time. This is too difficult, how can we break through it? There's not enough time. A few heavenly venerates rushed over in a hurry. Upon seeing the heavenly god of luck, they greeted her before continuing with their work. Etianyan was quite amused at the sight of them. It looked like they had gone completely insane when it came to research. He also realized what the purpose of this quicksand was, which was to slow down the passage of time in order to buy them more time. They were most likely creating these things to deal with something. The heavenly god of luck didn't provide any further explanations. Etianyan didn't join them, so there was naturally no need to explain anything to him. The room where the Fector Region Lord is staying is up ahead. The heavenly god of luck pointed to a small room up ahead, which was no different from other rooms without any extravagant decorations. He followed the heavenly god of luck and knocked on the door, upon which the heavenly god of luck replied, "Come in." Only then did the heavenly god of luck push open the door and enter. Etienne followed her in, and he had only just entered when he immediately sensed a powerful evil aura enshrouding the entire room. He turned his head and saw that the heretic god's orb was being enveloped by all sorts of machines and was being sealed. However, these machines were still being infected by the aura of the evil spirits. Some of them had been corroded, while others had become extremely black and were even on the verge of going out of control. Beside the evil spirit's pearl stood a slovenly old man. His entire head was enshrouded in hair, and he looked quite comical. Some of his hair had even become clumps, giving him a rather unkempt appearance. However, no one would think that he was unkempt, or at least no one dared to say that he was unkempt. This was because he was the Fecta Realm Lord, and his cultivation base was at the upper heavenly god initial stage. However, he had been working hard to find something that could suppress the evil spirit's pearl, so perhaps it was a bit of a hindrance to his cultivation. Elder Luck, you're here? This little friend doesn't appear to be one of our brethren. Could it be that you think he's a good seedling, Elder Luck? The Fecta Realm Lord turned to look at Enlin. Even though his entire face was enshrouded in hair, his eyes, which were filled with wisdom, were not. No, he's also the guardian of the evil spirit's pearl, and he's here to form an alliance with us. The heavenly god of luck revealed the reason for Etienne's visit. Guardian? The Fecta Realm Lord sized him up with narrowed eyes. I can't sense the aura of the evil spirit's pearl emanating from you at all. Even if you've suppressed it very well, there should at least be a hint of its aura. Etienne released a tiny bit of his aura, and the Fecta Realm Lord narrowed his eyes upon sensing it. Impressive. You have a brain that can suppress the evil spirit's pearl. That's the most troublesome part. Most importantly, you're not the one who's suppressing the evil spirit's pearl, but someone else. This life form is a little familiar, but its aura is too weak, so I can't sense it. Chapter 16:18. The evil spirit puppet's aura had been completely suppressed by Etienne a long time ago, so it basically couldn't release any aura. However, the Fecta Domain Lord was still able to sense it. It looked like the Fecta Domain Lord was quite a perceptive person. Even the heavenly goddess Luck was able to sense it, so the Fecta Domain Lord was able to sense it a little more easily. Even though it was only a little, he was still able to sense it. He had released it several times in the past, but neither the heavenly goddess Luck nor the Domain Lord Yuelong were able to sense it. It was evident that the Fecta Domain Lord was not an ordinary person. Don't worry about that. At the very least, I can control it, and that's enough. Etienne didn't expose the evil spirit puppet. They had only just met, so there was no way he was going to expose everything. At the same time, he was constantly inspecting the evil spirit's pearl. The Fecta Domain Lord was sealing the body of the evil spirits, so it was the second most difficult to seal. The first was naturally the head. The head had always been the most difficult to seal, and it required a lot more energy to do so. He couldn't sense what it was just from its aura, so he could only see through the surface of the pearl with his naked eye. The Fecta Domain Lord was able to immediately sense that it was the head. Etienne guessed that he was able to sense it from the density of the evil energy. The denser the evil energy, the higher the level of the body. As for the Fecta Domain Lord's sealing technique, it was completely different from the other Domain Lords, who used their own bodies to seal the pearl. The Fecta Domain Lord was completely relying on machines to seal the pearl, and he was also trying to figure out how to control and use this evil spirit's pearl. It had to be said that there was a huge difference between people. The other Domain Lords were constantly thinking about how to seal the pearl for a longer period of time, or they were considering who would be the next Domain Lord. However, the Fecta Domain Lord and the others didn't even need to use their own bodies. All they did was use these machines to seal the pearl, then try to draw out the evil energy within to see how to use it. It seemed to be quite difficult, so they hadn't been able to successfully use it, but at the very least, it seemed to be quite effective. Take it out for me to see. Ignoring him, The Fecta domain master walked toward Etianyun and stared at him with sharp eyes. If you don't show me, I won't form an alliance with you. The Fecta Protectorate Lord's crazed state gave Etianyun a fright. This was the first time he had seen such a strong thirst for knowledge. Everyone has their own secrets. I can't let you see them unless you form an alliance with me first. Etianyun also threatened him with an alliance. Yes, we could form an alliance now. Show me. The Fecta domain ruler's quick reply stunned Etianyun. Wasn't it too exaggerated to decide on an alliance so quickly? Just because he was slightly interested in something, he immediately chose to form an alliance. He didn't even consider the consequences. The heavenly goddess Luck couldn't take this any longer, and she hurriedly held the Fecta domain ruler back. Fecta domain ruler, what are you doing? This is an alliance, and it's not something that can be casually formed. You have to assess the situation first. It was far too rash to form an alliance without even knowing what was going on. That's true. We can't be too rash. After you show me if you think there's some research value in it, we can form an alliance right away. How about that? The Fecta domain ruler suggested. The heavenly goddess Luck almost fainted upon hearing this. There was a difference between the two options, but it didn't just depend on whether Etianyun's method was good or not. If his method was good, then they would form an alliance. This alliance was far too rash. If they were to form an alliance with a scammer, then they would be screwed. Most importantly, the Fecta domain had never interfered much with the outside world, so it was clearly not very appropriate for them to form an alliance. Etianyun almost spat out a mouthful of saliva. This Fecta domain ruler sure was rash. However, from the look in his eyes, he could tell that this wasn't the case at all. He then thought about it for a moment before deciding to bring out the sinister spirit puppet. After releasing the sinister spirit puppet, a sinister energy immediately began to spread throughout the room. This gave the heavenly goddess Luck a fright, and she immediately prepared for battle, only to be stopped by the Fecta domain ruler. Elder Luck, stop right now! The Fecta domain ruler signaled for Elder Luck to stop before inspecting the sinister spirit puppet. What kind of ability is this? To think that it could completely control the sinister spirit tribe and even seal the evil spirit's pearl within it. How bold of you! This is a puppet ability, Etianyun explained. A puppet? The Fecta domain ruler inspected the sinister spirit puppet. This puppet ability is way too powerful. I've never seen anything so realistic. I can't detect any abnormalities at all. Normal puppet techniques will always be exposed no matter how hard they try to conceal themselves. At most, they'll only be able to conceal themselves very well. However, none of them are as flawless as you are. Etianyun's sinister spirit puppet was naturally unable to detect any flaws. After all, it was constructed from the flesh and blood of sinister spirit puppets, so how could it detect any flaws? This is a mystic technique. This was the only explanation Etianyun could provide. If you exchange this mystic technique with me, I'll form an alliance with you immediately. At the same time, many areas of the Fecta divine realm will be open to you. The Fecta domain ruler was going crazy again. He wasn't serious at all. No, this cannot be leaked. Etianyun smiled. Speaking of which, are you satisfied with this, Fecta domain ruler? You said before that if you were satisfied, you'd form an alliance. You didn't say that this mystic technique was necessary. Etianyun's puppetry technique definitely couldn't be leaked. In fact, it couldn't be leaked at all. I can't leak it, all right, as long as you give this puppet to me for a while. I'll return it to you after I'm done researching it. Then, I'll form an alliance with you. What do you think? The Fecta domain ruler agreed readily. Etianyun was stunned by the Fecta domain ruler's quick reply. He hadn't expected things to go so smoothly. If he could form an alliance with the sinister spirit puppet after some research, then he might as well take it and study it. He wasn't afraid that the sinister spirit puppet would be dismembered. It was basically indestructible, and he could just gather it back together. Fecta domain ruler. The heavenly god of luck was about to go crazy. She didn't think that her domain ruler would agree so quickly. How about it? Do you agree? The Fecta domain ruler chuckled. No problem. but I have a condition for handing it over to you. It can't be too long. Otherwise, if it takes tens of thousands of years, wouldn't I be at a disadvantage? Also, you can't touch it too much. This is the pearl of evil spirits, and it could easily cause problems if you're not careful. Onion stated his conditions first, so that he wouldn't have to research it for tens of thousands of years before agreeing to this. Chapter 1619. Ahem, then let's set a time. We can't do anything rash. Onion shook his head. The affected domain Lord sure was crazy. He didn't know if he was actually crazy or just pretending to be crazy. He seemed to be very casual about everything, as though nothing mattered to him. He could even talk about forming an alliance without any hesitation. Then let's do it for a few years. We'll have to research for at least a few decades, right? But don't worry, the flow of time here is quite slow, so we'll take care of the flow of time here. If you stay outside, it'll only be a few months at most. It'll be over soon. The affected domain Lord said, if there's nothing else, you can leave now and wait for my news. In the meantime, you can wander around as you please, as long as it's not a restricted area. After that, he let Onion go out so that he won't disturb his research. Onion shrugged before turning to leave. In any case, the affected domain Lord had already said that, so he would just have to wait for some time. He was quite happy to see the affected domain Lord agree so readily. After he left, the heavenly goddess Luck hurriedly said, "Affected domain Lord, what's going on? Aren't you being too hasty? We haven't even figured out who the other party is, and you're already agreeing to an alliance?" The heavenly goddess Luck was really panicking. She had been trying to persuade the affected domain Lord from the very beginning, but the affected domain Lord completely ignored her. A faint smile appeared on the affected domain Lord's face. As long as it's not the evil spirit tribe, isn't that enough? The heavenly goddess Luck faltered slightly upon hearing this. But if the other party is too weak, then we'll have to constantly be on the move. That would expose our affected domain. How much longer do you think our affected domain can hide? The affected domain Lord smiled faintly and said, "There's not much time left. Even if the evil god is sealed, it's impossible for the evil spirit race to have no experts." Think about it. How did he manage to come in through such a secluded place? This was an accident. The heavenly goddess Luck was perplexed. "No, it's the divine spirit race," the affected domain master said with a smile. "Only the divine spirit race knows that he came from your temple. It's undeniable that some of them came in by accident, and they happen to be the guardians of the evil spirit's heads. Isn't it a good way to prove that they're from the divine spirit clan? An emissary of the god spirit race, or a guardian. Isn't that enough to form an alliance with us? Even though the divine spirit race has declined, they are still our pioneers and our great leaders. When the other party is in danger, why shouldn't we form an alliance?" The Fecta region ruler's explanation stunned the heavenly goddess of Luck. It seemed that the Fecta domain Lord wasn't in a hurry to study the ghoul puppet, but that he had discovered many things about it. "Fecta domain Lord, I'm very sorry. I thought you only chose to ally with us because of this puppet. This is also why I want to form an alliance. Such a good puppet. How can I not study it properly?" She followed the heavenly goddess of Luck out of the room with an enraged expression. She was about to be driven insane by the Fecta region ruler. In the end, she was completely engrossed in her research and didn't pay any attention to anything else. How could she be in a good mood? When she came out of the room, she discovered that Onion was surveying his surroundings, clearly quite interested in the hourglasses around him. So he's the representative of the divine spirit race? I wonder what he's capable of. I thought he really was a guardian, but it turns out he's just a puppet. That's a little strange. The heavenly goddess of Luck's eyes darted around. "I'll test him first. The Fecta region ruler doesn't want to test him, but I want to." The heavenly goddess of Luck made her way over to Onion with a smile. "Speaking of which, I still don't know what your Tao title is. Heavenly Venerate Heavenly Cloud. You could just call me that." Onion turned to look at her, and he couldn't help but feel like something bad was about to happen at the sight of the heavenly goddess of Luck's smile. "Heavenly Venerate Heavenly Cloud, what kind of power are you currently in?" The heavenly goddess of Luck asked with a sweet smile. It had to be said that she was quite approachable, especially her beautiful face, which gave people a good impression of her. There was also a special aura emanating from her body that enshrouded her entire body. Tianyun used his detection eye to discover that she had a natural halo of luck, and she was constantly releasing her power of luck. Anyone who approached her would most likely receive good luck. The power I'm currently in is the god realm of the three realms. Tianyun replied in a very straightforward manner. The god realm of the three realms? The heavenly goddess of luck faltered upon hearing this. The god realm that has recently been blessed by the heavens, and it's a very weak one at that. It seems that my force is quite famous. Tianyun said with a smile. It's not a secret. It's quite renowned, but I heard that its overall power is quite lackluster. The heavenly goddess of luck looked at him with a peculiar expression. If it weren't for the fact that the heavens blessed them with a special barrier, they would have been razed to the ground a long time ago. Every time the topic of the god realm of the three realms was brought up, everyone would feel like the god realm of the three realms was simply too lucky. It was as if the heavens were blind to take care of such a weak god realm. Even the god realm of the three realms didn't receive this kind of treatment. If they didn't have a powerful backer, they would have been immediately conquered. The god realm of the three realms didn't have any powerful backers, but they had a powerful backer like the heavens. Ah, that's true. Tianyun smiled. He was naturally aware of this. However, even if there really was no protective barrier, it would be impossible for other powers to conquer the god realm of the three realms. He was definitely going to make those invading powers feel like they were in an extreme nightmare. If Tianyun couldn't defeat them, he could choose to run. When he made a breakthrough in his cultivation base, he would make them realize what a huge mistake they had made. Aside from that, what other advantages does the god realm of the three realms have? The heavenly god of luck was listening to Tianyun's explanation. The divine spirit race didn't ask Tianyun directly. Advantages? I have a bunch of very powerful friends. Is that an advantage? Tianyun smiled. A lot of powerful friends? The heavenly goddess of luck wore a peculiar expression. What kind of powerful friends did they have? Aside from that, there's still me. Is that enough? Tianyun smiled. The heavenly goddess of luck felt like Lin was far too shameless. A heavenly venerate was nothing to a fourth-grade god realm cultivator. Any random cultivator would be able to surpass him. Chapter 16:20. The heavenly goddess of luck was a little displeased with Tianyun. She felt that as a guardian, he shouldn't be so pompous. He should be more prudent instead of being so arrogant. If the three realms' mythical realm didn't have a protective barrier, it would have been breached a long time ago. How could a mere heavenly venerate defend it? As such, as a very responsible heavenly goddess of luck, she felt that she had to teach Tianyun a lesson. She couldn't allow him to continue being so pompous. The evil spirit's pearl was a very important item, and she couldn't afford to be careless. As such, she had to be prudent at all times. Tianyun didn't know what she was thinking, and he couldn't be bothered to pay attention to her either. He continued to walk around to see what was going on. He couldn't wait here forever, so he decided to take a stroll around and explore the wonders of the Fectus sacred realm. Heavenly goddess of luck, if there's nothing else, I'll just take a stroll around. Tianyun turned and walked away, ignoring the heavenly goddess of luck. Wait a moment. How about this? I'll take you around the Fectus sacred realm. I'll introduce you to the powerful aspects of the Fecta sacred realm. The heavenly goddess of luck immediately thought of something. That's a good idea. Thank you, heavenly goddess of luck. Tianyun smiled. Then, the heavenly goddess of luck led Tianyun outside. She didn't take Tianyun to the main palace. Instead, she took him to some secluded areas. This area is the heavenly fate divine pond. There are many treasures under the water. The heavenly goddess of luck led him to the bridge and slowly walked over. Tianyun looked down into the heavenly fate divine pond. There were indeed many treasures at the bottom of the pond. There were at least heavenly Tao-level treasures, and there were even heavenly venerate-level treasures. All of these treasures had fallen into the water, but no one had salvaged them, which was quite perplexing. There are so many treasures, but no one is planning to salvage them? Etienne was perplexed. These treasures are actually defective or damaged. If we throw them into the heavenly, mysterious divine pond, they will slowly recover. A faint smile appeared on the heavenly goddess Luck's face. Many of them have been abandoned here, and some of them have been forgotten to be taken away. Normally, we won't take the initiative to clean them up. That's incredible. It's even capable of repairing treasures. Etienne's eyes lit up. In that case, he didn't even have to repair it himself. All he had to do was to soak it in a pool for a period of time, and it would be able to repair it easily. It's that amazing, and there's something even more amazing. The heavenly god of luck continued onward with him as a faint smile appeared on her face. Immediately afterward, a burst of special energy emanated from her body, which enshrouded Etienne. Etienne was startled. He could clearly see a special energy enveloping him. It was naturally not visible to the naked eye, but was detected by the appraisal eye. This was the aura of misfortune. To put it bluntly, one's luck value would decrease upon coming into contact with this aura, thereby making them extremely unlucky. He didn't think that the heavenly god of luck would have such an ability. It looked like anything was possible in this world. No wonder she was referred to as the heavenly god of luck. She really could control luck and unleash misfortune. Is she trying to see me make a fool of myself? Etienne rolled his eyes, but his expression remained unchanged as he followed behind her. It was impossible to make him become unlucky with such a measly amount of misfortune. He had only saved so many people and completed so many missions. His luck value was definitely very high, and unless it was an extremely powerful amount of misfortune, it wouldn't affect him in the slightest. This reminded him of the heavenly venerates who had been smashed by bricks or tripped over by the heavenly god of luck. This energy was extremely formless, and it was impossible to detect, so there was no way to defend against it. However, it didn't mean much to him. Etienne casually allowed it to envelop him. No matter how this amount of misfortune affected him, it didn't mean anything to him. It couldn't seep into his body at all, let alone make a fool of himself. Hurry up and fall into the water. Hurry up! The heavenly god of luck screamed in her heart, hoping that Etienne would fall into the water and become a drenched chicken. However, no matter how hard she tried, it didn't work. She was quite confused. What's going on? Why is there no effect at all? For the first time, she was wondering if she had made a mistake. Was it because her amount of misfortune wasn't high enough? She immediately increased the degree of misfortune several times, but the degree of misfortune still couldn't penetrate Etienne's body. It was still blocked. After a short while, the heavenly god of luck still didn't see Etienne fall into the water, and he continued to walk behind her without any signs of tripping. It still doesn't work? That's impossible. Even a heavenly god can be affected, unless his luck defies the natural order. The heavenly god of luck was astonished. In the past, she had tried it every single time, and it rarely failed. However, it didn't work now. One had to realize that she had already significantly enhanced her luck, but it still didn't work. This was extremely shocking to her. She felt like it had no effect. Etienne, who was following behind her, had a large handful of bad luck divine pills in his hands. This was something from a long time ago. It was a godly pill that could greatly reduce a person's luck and make them extremely unlucky. He didn't know if they would work on the heavenly god of luck, but he still had to give it a try. Seeing as she wanted to see him make a fool of himself, he was going to see the heavenly god of luck make a fool of herself. Immediately afterward, he flicked a few bad luck divine pills, all of which easily seeped into her body, but they didn't have any effect even after a short while. As expected of the heavenly god of luck, her luck is way too domineering. I've used so many bad luck divine pills, and it only decreased her luck by a tiny bit. Etienne's eyes flashed. Screw it. He then exchanged for several dozen bad luck divine pills before flicking them all into the heavenly god of luck's body. In the end, her luck was instantly reduced to 0, and it even went into the negatives. Only after expending so many bad luck divine pills was she able to achieve such an effect, which was a clear indication of just how insane her luck was. Ding! Bad luck divine pills activated. Just as the heavenly god of luck was wondering why her luck was ineffective, her foot slipped, and she fell to the side before sinking to the bottom of the lake with a plop. However, that wasn't the end of it. The weapons around her quickly converged before crashing into her body. However, Etienne couldn't help but burst into laughter upon seeing this. He didn't feel the slightest hint of pity toward her. She wanted to toy with him? Let's see if he could beat her. Even the heavenly god of luck was shocked by this, and she quickly rushed out of the water before hurling all of the weapons toward her. At the same time, she activated her luck in a frenzy, and the bad luck divine pills were quickly nullified. Chapter 16:21. Etienne had thought that the heavenly god of luck would last for a while, but it had ended in just a short while. He had to admit that his physique was really good, and his luck was absolutely insane. He had seen amazing cultivation physiques, but he had never seen such a heaven-defying luck physique. The effects were even more astonishing. If he didn't have enough talent, he could make up for it with luck. Along the way, he had all sorts of fortuitous encounters and all sorts of spirit herbs. How could he be afraid that his cultivation would not increase? The heavenly luck goddess was one such example. She was so young, yet she was already so powerful. Of course, her innate talent wasn't low either, and that was the most terrifying thing about her. With both of them stacked on top of each other, it was truly shocking. He was struck by the urge to poach heavenly luck. If the heavenly goddess of luck were to join his force, then his power would be significantly boosted. After all, if he brought a group of cultivators out to hunt for treasures, he would be able to find many treasures and encounter many fortuitous encounters. However, this was just a thought. How could the Fecta divine realm release him? Heavenly luck goddess, what's wrong? Etienne repressed the urge to laugh as he looked at the disheveled heavenly goddess luck. The water on her body had quickly evaporated, but this was nothing to her. It was just that she looked a little disheveled. I'm fine. The heavenly goddess of luck's face convulsed, and she felt extremely awkward. She was trying to make Etienne suffer, but who would have thought that she would be the one suffering instead? This surprised her. Why was she the unlucky one and not Etienne? What's going on? Could it be that he's luckier than me? In other words, the heavenly god of luck's bad luck has reversed. The heavenly god of luck continued to speculate, and in the end, she concluded that the bad luck had reversed on her. It's very likely that I used too much of it in the past, which is why this is happening. That was all she could be sure of. Regardless of whether it was luck or misfortune, she naturally could not use them carelessly. If used indiscriminately, the good would become the bad, so it was better to use it with caution. She did not think that Etienne's luck was heaven-defying. After all, there were only a few people who could be as heaven-defying as her. Moreover, if he was really that lucky, Etienne's reputation would have spread far and wide. Just like the goddess of fortune, people still came to pay their respects to her. However, the Fecta divine realm was the one who had built this temple, so they had purposely publicized it as a form of cover. As he continued walking, he soon left the heavenly, mysterious divine lake. In contrast, the heavenly god of luck was extremely depressed. He had wanted to teach Etienne a lesson, but who would have thought that he would suffer instead? Heavenly venerate heavenly cloud. As a guardian, you have to learn to keep a low profile. You can't be too high profile. Otherwise, you'll bring harm upon yourself. The heavenly god of luck could only try to persuade him. Am I not low profile enough? Etienne was puzzled. You call this keeping a low profile? You even said that it's enough for the three realms deity realm to have you. Isn't that high profile? The heavenly goddess luck shook her head. Your cultivation base is not weak, and you also possess such a puppet. However, in the context of the entire divine realm, your cultivation base is only average. Understand? Etienne looked her up and down in surprise. He didn't think that the heavenly goddess of luck would say something like this. Usually, with such luck, everything would come so quickly, and they would not have to suffer much. When that time came, she would definitely be even more arrogant and haughty. Who knew that she knew how to keep a low profile? What a surprise. Heavenly Goddess Luck, you know how to keep a low profile? Tianyin was quite amused. I thought you would be very arrogant, but I didn't think you'd be so understanding. The Heavenly Goddess of Luck almost threw up a mouthful of blood. How am I arrogant? Even if my luck is quite good, I didn't get to where I am today purely because of luck. That's true. If you think I don't keep a low profile, then why don't you join my force and keep an eye on me? Tianyin suggested with a smile. Join your force? The Heavenly Goddess of Luck rolled her eyes. She didn't know what Tianyin was talking about. I'm already an elder of the Fecta Divine Realm. How could I join your force? I'm not asking you to leave the Fecta Divine Realm. All you have to do is visit us from time to time and take care of some of my subordinates. You can just be a guest elder or something like that. Tell me what you want, and I'll definitely satisfy you as long as I can. Tianyin replied in a very forthright manner. You'll give me whatever I want? Your cultivation base is even lower than mine, so you might not be able to give me what I want. The Heavenly Goddess of Luck rolled her eyes. How am I supposed to know what you want if you don't tell me? Tianyin shrugged in a resigned manner. So be it, I can't be bothered to tell you. You won't be able to give me anything anyway. The Heavenly Goddess of Luck waved a hand, completely disregarding Tianyin's words. Then how can you become my guest elder? Tianyin asked. No way. I'm already so busy here, so why would I bother you? If you want to become my guest elder, you'll have to be luckier than me, but that's impossible. The Heavenly Goddess of Luck waved a hand. Wait, Tianyin pointed at her. That's what you said. If my luck surpasses yours, then you'll have to join my force and become my guest elder. What a joke. Looks like you don't know how powerful I am. The Heavenly Goddess of Luck was enraged to the point of bursting into laughter. If I lose, I'll become your guest elder. But what if I win? I can't just walk away empty-handed. That would be too much of a loss. Then what do you want? Tianyin looked directly into her eyes. The Heavenly Goddess of Luck sized him up, and from her tone, it appeared that she really did want to compete with her. You really do know your place. The Heavenly Goddess of Luck's eyes flashed as she said, If you lose, then hand over the evil spirit's pearl to me, and I'll look after it for you. That way, I'll be doing you a favor and not put you in any danger. That was indeed true. The evil spirit's pearl was an extremely dangerous item in the possession of some cultivators with low cultivation bases. However, the Heavenly Goddess of Luck didn't have any benefits either. It was an extremely sinister item, and it could only be used in times of crisis. The Heavenly Goddess of Luck's possession really did save him a lot of trouble. However, Tianyin didn't think that way. With the evil spirit puppet in his possession, the evil spirit's pearl would have a completely different effect. Chapter 16:22. No problem. If I lose, I'll give the evil spirit's pearl to you. Tianyin immediately agreed. On the contrary, if you lose, you'll really have to become my guest elder. Deal? Seeing as you've said this, I'll naturally show you my sincerity as long as you don't go back on your word. As for vows and whatnot, I won't say anything more. It's all up to you. The Heavenly Luck God was very confident. She definitely wouldn't lose. After all these years, her luck had never been bad. Tianyin's luck was definitely inferior to the Heavenly Luck God's, but he still had his luck halo. With the enhancement of his luck halo, he was confident that he would be able to surpass the Heavenly Luck God. Of course, I won't go back on my word. Tianyin smiled. All right, then come with me to a place where you can showcase your luck. A joyful smile appeared on the Heavenly Luck God's face. She was extremely elated at the thought of being able to obtain the evil spirit's pearl for the Fectus Sacred Realm to study. Heavenly God Luck immediately took Tianyin away from this place and didn't show him around anymore. Moments later, they arrived at a certain place. Tianyin was greeted by the sight of a pile of special spirit stones in front of him. All of them were of different colors, and he couldn't tell what they were. From their colors, he could tell that they were all of the 5 elements: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. They were all quite beautiful, and they were undoubtedly some special spirit stone crystals that could provide energy for the mechanical guards. These spirit stones had all been dug out from somewhere, and they were all piled up into a small mountain. There were many cultivators and mechanical guards picking through the spirit stones before slicing off a small piece to determine what grade they were. So many spirit stones? Etienne looked at the pile of spirit stones with a perplexed expression. Are we going to compete in luck here? That's right, we're going to compete in luck here. The heavenly luck god smiled. Anyone can tell that this is a pile of spirit stones. No one can tell what grade these spirit stones are with their eyes or their spiritual senses. Only by cutting open these spirit stones will we be able to see their true grade. What we're competing on is very simple. We'll randomly pick a spirit stone and then take it out to compete to see whose pick is of a higher grade. Let's not talk too much. Let's win 2 out of 3. How about it? The heavenly god of luck's competition was absolutely fair, and it was impossible to tell just how high the grade of the heavenly god's body was. Etienne looked at her pitifully. To him, this was a gift. Normal eyes and spiritual sense couldn't distinguish it, but he didn't have normal eyes. Instead, he had a special probing eye. He could completely detect how high the grade of the item inside was. With a glance, all the information was presented in front of him. Needless to say, he already knew that he would win. No matter how heaven-defying his luck was, it couldn't possibly be better than his, right? He had already seen the answer, so how was he supposed to play? Unless she chose the one and only first, then he would definitely lose. Of course, he did not see any unique existence of a high rank, so at most it would be a draw, not a loss. Elder Luck, what are you doing here? At this moment, some cultivators saw the heavenly god of luck, and they immediately put down their work and flew toward her. I'm competing with his luck to see who can pick a higher grade spirit stone here. The heavenly god of luck smiled. May I stay here for a while? Competing with your luck? The guards looked at Etienne as if they were looking at an idiot. Etienne could see the words overestimate yourself in their eyes. They didn't think he would win at all. That's right, he's here to compete with me in terms of luck, which is why he's here. We'll have to cut some spirit stones later to compare our results. Is that okay? The heavenly god of luck asked. No problem at all. All of the cultivators gestured for her to pick any spirit stone she wanted. At the same time, they all spread the news of this competition. After spreading the news, the entire Fecta divine realm exploded. All of them had the same thought in their minds. This outsider was overestimating himself and trying to compete with the heavenly god of luck in terms of luck. Thus, all of them flew over from outside to see what kind of joke this was. They wanted to see just who was trying to compete with the heavenly god of luck in terms of luck. Soon, many disciples of the Fecta divine realm had gathered here, and even the elders had been alerted. This wasn't a big deal, as they just wanted to see the outsider get slapped in the face. Is that him? He wants to compete with the heavenly god of luck in terms of luck? Most likely. He's the only outsider here. His cultivation base is so low, yet he dares to compete with the heavenly god of luck in terms of luck. What a joke! Is this outsider here to be humiliated? All of them began to gossip about Etienne, and all of them felt like Etienne was an absolute joke. Etienne ignored their stares and looked around to see which spirit stone has the highest grade, so he decided to lock it first. Are you ready? The heavenly god of luck asked as she looked at Etienne. I'm ready, but ladies first. You go first. Etienne indicated for the heavenly god of luck to choose the spirit stone first. He didn't want to choose the highest grade right from the start. All he wanted was for the spirit stone to be of a slightly higher grade than hers. Ladies first? You sure are a gentleman. The heavenly god of luck chuckled. However, you still have to hand over the evil spirit's pearl. She took a step forward and walked around the pile of spirit stones. She activated her luck to the maximum and quickly found a spirit stone. She picked it up and walked back to where the spirit stones were. I've already chosen it. This is the one. The heavenly god of luck extended the spirit stone to find that it was around the size of a fist. It wasn't very big, and it looked quite beautiful. Etienne looked closely, and he was truly shocked. He had randomly picked up a spirit stone from the side of the road and it was a spirit stone of a high grade. No wonder she was referred to as the heavenly god of luck. All right, it's my turn to choose now. Etienne smiled as he extended a foot to the side, upon which a thumb-sized spirit stone landed in his hand. This is the only one I have. What? You're just going to pick one from the side? The heavenly god of luck was astonished. He was just randomly picking one from the ground? Wasn't that a little too casual? Even though she couldn't tell, how could such a small and shriveled spirit stone be of a high grade? Chapter 16:23. Etienne looked like he had picked up a random spirit stone, and all of them were dumbstruck. Even if his luck was inferior, there was no need to be so perfunctory. This seemed to be a perfunctory response, an extremely perfunctory one at that. Compared to the heavenly goddess luck spirit stone, the spirit stone that he had picked up was far inferior. Even though one couldn't tell much from the outside, there were some things that could be seen from a single glance. For example, the spirit stone in Etienne's hand was of extremely poor quality, and it was far inferior to the spirit stone in the heavenly goddess luck's hand. If the spirit stone in the heavenly goddess luck's hand was like a work of art, then the spirit stone in Etienne's hand was like a piece of trash that no one would pick up. Are you sure you want to compete with me in this aspect? The heavenly goddess luck was a little enraged. He had agreed to compete with her in terms of luck, but wasn't this a little too perfunctory? That's right, I want to compete with you in this aspect. Etienne smiled. All of the spectating cultivators immediately erupted into a frenzy upon hearing this. Is this outsider an idiot? How dare he do this? That's a blatant disrespect to Elder Luck. That's right. That's a blatant disrespect to Elder Luck. This isn't a competition. It feels like he's intentionally conceding defeat. It's very likely that he's intentionally conceding defeat in order to curry favor with Elder Luck. Curry favor? That's hilarious. Elder Luck hates this kind of thing the most. If that's the case, then he's just trying to suck up to Elder Luck. Their impression of Etienne is greatly reduced. They think that he is really too weak. They want to have a good fight. Who knows that the other side won't fight? He just stood there and let people beat him at will. They really don't have the slightest interest. If his opponent was a very competitive type to begin with, then this was clearly an insult to all of them. He had clearly challenged them to a battle, yet he refused to take it seriously. How could this not infuriate them? All right, then let's do it. The heavenly luck goddess's eyes were filled with rage, and she couldn't even be bothered to say anything. All she wanted was to win the evil spirit's pearl. That was better than having it in Etienne's hands. An elder walked over and smiled. Then I will be in charge of cutting these spiritual stones. Then I'll have to trouble you. Elder Swayu, the heavenly goddess luck expressed her gratitude. It's not troublesome at all. I just need to cut off this spirit stone. Elder Swayu looked at Etienne and said, Young friend, are you sure you don't want to change it? Although we can't easily identify these spirit stones with our eyes, according to my many years of experience, those that are of good quality are usually of good quality. As for those that are of poor quality, there might be some bright spots, but most of them are defective. These words were indeed true. He might not be able to see the exact grade, but it wasn't a problem for him to make a rough estimate. Elder Swayu, I will choose this one, Etienne said firmly. All right then, Elder Sway, you didn't try to persuade him any further. He had wanted Etienne to take this seriously as a form of respect for the heavenly goddess luck, but who would have thought that Etienne wouldn't change his mind? After that, Elder Sway, you picked up the heavenly luck god's spirit stone before slicing off a small, smooth section of the stone to reveal a deep, red section of the stone. Not bad. This is a 6th grade firestone. It's quite a high grade. Elder Sway, you was elated. Even though 6th grade firestones weren't all that precious here and could still be found, it wasn't easy to find such a high grade firestone. To be able to find a 6th grade firestone just by walking around, the heavenly goddess luck sure is lucky. The lucky elder is indeed the lucky elder. He is really too lucky. I've worked here for many years, but it's impossible for me to find it so quickly, they all sighed. Even the disciples who specialized in searching for spirit stones here might not necessarily be able to find it. They all had to search for a long time before they could find it. It's all right. The heavenly goddess luck nodded. She felt like this was quite a good grade. Immediately afterward, everyone turned to look at Etianyun. It was now time for the spirit stone in his hand to be sliced open. Everyone didn't even need to cut open the spirit stone to know that it definitely wasn't a match for the heavenly goddess Luck. All right then, it's time to cut open the spirit stone. Seeing as this was a competition, they had to go through the necessary procedures. Elder Sway Yu then sliced open the spirit stone, only to reveal nothing but an inky black expanse. Trash? Elder Sway Yu faltered slightly upon seeing this. After slicing open the spirit stone, it was a worthless piece of trash. Everyone burst into raucous laughter upon seeing this. Who would have thought that this outsider would choose a worthless piece of trash that couldn't even be considered to be of a higher grade? He had completely lost. What a joke! He chose a worthless piece of trash. How embarrassing! It can't even reach the first grade? You have a nerve to bring it out like this. You're really thick-skinned. Perhaps he knew that he was going to lose for sure. So he chose a random, worthless piece of trash. Even though they didn't have high hopes for Etianyun, they didn't think that he would lose so completely. I've won this round. The heavenly goddess Luck's expression was quite dark. She didn't feel like she had won. In fact, she didn't feel like she had won at all. How could she feel happy when her opponent wasn't even taking her seriously? Wait, Etianyun looked at Elder Sway Yu. Elder Sway Yu, can you cut a little more? This. Elder Sway Yu thought about it for a moment before continuing to cut a little more. Soon, a deep golden color appeared before everyone's eyes. They were all astonished upon seeing this, and someone even yelled, This is a 7th grade metal spirit stone. What? They were all astonished. This was a 7th grade metal spirit stone, which was even more powerful than the heavenly goddess Luck's spirit stone. Even though there was a difference in elemental attributes, it was only a disparity in grades. As long as the heavenly goddess Luck's grade surpassed hers, then Etianyun would win. Heavenly goddess Luck, I only have a tiny bit of this. Our competition doesn't care about quantity, right? Etianyun looked at the dumbstruck heavenly goddess Luck with a smile. What a joke. How could he have lost? How could he have picked a random spirit stone? There just so happened to be a 7th grade spirit stone right beside him. So why did he have to pick one? This really is a 7th grade spirit stone. The heavenly goddess Luck stared at him in astonishment. Why, you can tell what grade it is. Chapter 16:24. Etianyun's explanation was very convincing, and they all believed him. Perhaps it was precisely because of his firm conviction that he was willing to continue. If it were any other cultivator, they would have thrown it aside in disappointment instead of continuing to cut it. Of course, if it were any other cultivator, there was no way they would choose such a mundane spirit stone either. Who would have thought that such an ugly stone would be of a higher grade? All right, you've won this round. The number of stones won't be the deciding factor. The heavenly goddess Luck had a complex expression on her face. She had thought that Etianyun was just toying with her, but it looked like he really did want to compete with her. Was he really that lucky? Was he really going to beat her with a random spirit stone? Wasn't his luck a little too insane? She had only decided to do this after searching for a while. Etianyun had no choice but to choose the spirit stone next to his foot. All right, thank you for letting me win. A smile appeared on Etianyun's face. He was sure that he would be able to easily win the next round as well. He had already known from the very beginning that he was going to win. If he couldn't even win after knowing the answer, then he really had nothing to say. This is my negligence. I'm truly sorry, little friend Sway Yu. Elder Sway Yu was feeling very awkward. He had been working here for so long, but who would have thought that he would make such a huge mistake again? Don't worry, we'll just keep going until the end. Etianyun didn't reprimand him. This was only natural. If he looked too far ahead, he could very well miss out on a lot of things in the end. Of course, Elder Sway Yu was still feeling very awkward. After all, there were so many people watching, and he was an elder, yet he had made such a huge mistake. How could he not be embarrassed? The second round is still the heavenly goddess Luck. You go first. Etianyun gestured for the heavenly goddess Luck to choose a spirit stone. All right. The competitive spirit in the heavenly goddess Luck welled up in her heart. If she continued to lose, then she would really lose. She had never thought that she would lose from the very beginning. Who knew that he would really lose a round? Since that was the case, then she had to be serious. She didn't want to become a guest elder of the god realm of the three realms. Or rather, she wanted to win the evil spirit's orb. The heavenly goddess of luck immediately made her selection. This time, she activated her luck to the maximum, and all of the spirit stones around her began to tremble. The grade of the shaking spirit stones was not low either. They were all 6th or 7th grade spirit stones and above. He hadn't expected his luck to have such an influence, causing the spirit stones to tremble as if they were saying, "Choose me." It had to be said that luck was really strong. He didn't even need to choose by himself, and he could already pick out a very good spirit stone. The heavenly god of luck looked around to see if there were any higher grades. Soon, she picked out a relatively large one among the many spiritual stones. It was only slightly larger than a fist. "I'll take this one." Heavenly goddess luck took the spirit stone and made her way over. Then, he handed the spirit stone to Elder Sway Yu, indicating that he had chosen the spirit stone for the competition. "I've already made my choice carefully this time. If I still lose, then it means that this is the will of the heavens." The heavenly goddess of luck wore a calm expression. She had already unleashed everything she had, and if she still couldn't win, then there was really no way she could win. Tianyin took a casual glance at the spirit stone that the heavenly goddess of luck had brought back before setting off to search for more spirit stones. He rummaged through the piles of spirit stones, and in the end, he found a gargantuan spirit stone that was several dozen times larger than the one that the heavenly goddess of luck had obtained. Such a gargantuan spirit stone was carried out before being tossed onto the ground with a loud thump, indicating just how heavy it was. "I'll take this one." Tianyin made his way over to them with a smile. "This one?" They all wore peculiar expressions on their faces. "That's right, this one." Tianyin clapped his hands together before turning to them. "Is there a problem?" "Generally speaking, the purer the spirit stone is, the better it is. Not the bigger the spirit stone, the better. The larger the spirit stone and the more colorful it is, the more likely that it will be of a lower grade. This spirit stone of yours is multicolored, so it's not pure. There's a very high chance that it will be of a very low grade. Are you sure you're not going to change it?" Elder Sway, you couldn't help but remind Lin. This was something that they had learned from many years of experience. The more colorful a spirit stone was, the more likely it was to be of a low grade. This was similar to how the more abilities one had, the less proficient they would be in any particular area, and the more mediocre they would be in. This was the case with the 5-colored spirit stone that Tianyin had obtained. It was very colorful, but it was too versatile, which was why it was of a low grade. Perhaps it would also be of a 3rd or 4th grade, but it would still be too low. After all, the heavenly goddess of luck was not going to obtain a spirit stone that was lower than a 6th grade spirit stone, right? Hence, it was more than enough to defeat Tianyin. "I'm sure I'm not going to change it. I'll take this one." Tianyin smiled. Elder Sway Yu shook her head and didn't say anything else. They had already given Tianyin another chance to make a choice. If he didn't cherish this opportunity, what else could he do? This outsider sure is confident. He chose a seemingly worthless spirit stone, but it's actually of a decent grade. Does he think he'll be able to obtain a high-grade spirit stone by accident this time? That's right. The grade of the spirit stone is definitely going to be low. This is a publicly acknowledged situation, and there are basically no exceptions. That's right. He's definitely going to suffer this time. Elder Sway Yu even gave him a reminder, but he didn't take it seriously at all. Does he really think he's going to be lucky again? Even if Tianyin won this round, most people would have misjudged him. However, everyone knew about this spirit stone. If he still chose the spirit stone when everyone knew about it, then he was definitely going to lose. The heavenly goddess of luck's eyes were filled with disappointment. She had thought that she would have a good opponent, but it looked like she had made a random choice. She was relying on luck, but she was also relying on her own judgment. Luck alone really wasn't the right choice sometimes. All right, let's start cutting the spirit stone that Elder Luck has chosen. Elder Swayu began to cut the heavenly goddess of luck's spirit stone. Soon, a dark green light began to emanate from the spirit stone, which was even more solid and profound than before. Nice! An 8th grade green spirit stone. Elder Swayu was elated. This was not a low-grade spirit stone. In fact, it could even be said that it was quite a high-grade spirit stone. There were mountains of spirit stones here, and there were only a handful that were 8th grade or above. Who would have thought that such a rare spirit stone would actually be picked out? This was not something that could be identified with the naked eye or spiritual sense, but the heavenly goddess of luck had managed to find it. Her luck was truly out of this world. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.